The liners. I ain't using them in a while, but they're definitely in there. I got a lot of them, babe.
You are enough. You are enough. You are enough.
You my grand rising. Bright and early. Did the time move, babe? Because I know that the
was supposed to move.
Yeah, the time on the stove not off.
Tonight to tomorrow.
I thought they said. Oh, they said tonight. I don't know what I was thinking.
Tonight to tomorrow.
Okay.
Yo, man, what a line is it, babe?
I know they're in there.
Help me make it simple. Make it sense, babe. What a line is it? I ain't got no lines.
I know we do. I didn't throw them away.
Hey, you ain't got no lines.
Check all the way on the top here. Behind the.
How do you have a coffee maker? That's like having a coffee maker with no coffee. And I don't want none of that coffee in that kid. I don't like that.
It's on there. Seriously.
Where you at?
I don't know. Check the top shelf.
I did already. Let's go.
I'm almost certain, babe. We have coffee pot.
I know your mama got some in her house.
Where's she at? She come online yet? Vinette. Shalom. That's all right. Yahoo Grand Rising. Tabitha. Shalom. Elijah. What's going on? All right, beautiful people. Facebook. Hey, y'all. Listen, y'all. I think I made a mistake. I'm almost certain of it. Hold on. I didn't realize it until yesterday.
I'm about to go to 7-Eleven then if I can't make no coffee.
Okay, babe.
That's not the point. Why I gotta go on a coffee maker if I can't make no coffee?
You know what? And after you go up there at 7-Eleven, I'm gonna find them. They in here somewhere. I know it. I just noted. Anita, greetings. Yeah, I think I messed up the Sabbath day. I'm almost certain I did. Writing too fast in my book and didn't even catch myself when I was doing it until yesterday. And somebody asked me. I'm like, wait, hold on, girl, hold on. Let me go back and check myself. Hold on. Yeah, you know. He was waiting. He gone? Oh, did Jonathan get him? Yeah, y'all. 26. Yeah, we sighted the moon on the 26th. The garage.
Yeah, they got the garage open like all night.
I mean, it's Saturday. He probably want to get out. It's going to be 80 degrees. He want to get out there and start before the sun.
See what, baby?
They want to get out there and start before the sun, maybe.
Start what?
Cutting his grass. Oh, no. He probably trying to put away all his stuff. The decoration.
I'm saying it's open like, you could tell it's a good neighborhood. These people beside us, they leave their garage door open all night too. I'm like, y'all don't care about nothing like rodents and nothing like that coming in. I mean, they got dogs. I mean, I guess, you know what I mean? That'll scare them out, but...
Yeah, okay.
You can tell me in a good neighborhood. You don't have to worry about nobody.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, babe, you put them 14 locks on downstairs?
I know, right? What up?
We ain't used to some of this.
What do with that?
Look, put them on, babe. Yes, guys. Okay, so the new moon was sighted, and Wednesday, October the 26th, right? Me writing all super fast. When it was sighted, I wrote Sabbath on Thursday instead of on Wednesday, right? So for the last two Sabbaths, no, just the first Sabbath. What's the date? The 5th. Yeah, so it should have actually been Wednesday, and I went through when I did it. I flipped to all the Thursdays for this moon cycle. I gotta correct myself. It should be Wednesdays, y'all. Just in case you just
gonna be mad at you.
No, they ain't. Now if I had to be like, look, well, I ain't going back and say nothing, then we would have a problem.
Angels gonna be mad at you.
I am not perfect. I strive to be. They're all gonna laugh at you. So what? I'm fixing my mistake. Okay. All right, this was wrong.
Man, it's gonna be nice today.
It is gonna be 80 degrees. All right, I wanted to
barbecue today.
Share that first.
I want to barbecue a vegan lamb.
Okay, y'all. So just in case y'all was following my count, me moving too fast, I wrote it on Thursday instead of Wednesday. So it should be Wednesdays, y'all. But if you ain't following my count and you've been doing it, then it's okay, right? Okay. All right. So now that we got that fixed, forgive me. I'll be moving too fast sometimes. I gotta slow down. But just know when I figure out I did something wrong, I'm gonna come back and fix it. Especially if I hadn't told y'all wrong. We got to fix it before we go on any further. All right, y'all. So it is Saturday, November. Why is pen going out so soon? No, this is a new one. The office? Yeah. Well, what?
3 or 4? Was it 3 or 4 Cook Boulevard?
What? Don't you know where you work at?
Get
it here.
I asked 304.
I am live.
I know.
It's not. That's not the address.
3? No.
Right. Listen. Don't say it out loud. I know what I just said. What did I just say?
Oh, man.
Just give me the phone.
We're armed. You've been warned.
Go ahead, boy.
I have no regard for other lives.
Well, see, you had to get that together before you graduate from this plane, son. All right, beautiful people. Happy Saturday. Sorry, just a few housekeeping things. All right. It is Saturday, November the 5th, 2022, day 255 of year 4. Reading through the books of the law and the prophets under the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1274. We are in the book of Jehovah, and we pause at chapter 3 on page 7. Okay. Page 7. And it's Saturday. We get to read a little bit. Today, right? No holds barred. I got a little bit of good news for this first term. We're going to pick up on page 44 in a field guide of the spirit world once we get done reading this portion of Oahspe today. But let me share something with y'all. So yesterday, we had to leave early because we had orientation. Jeremiah starts college Monday, but I also start my program for the MBA, right? And so for a couple of years, not for a couple of years, more than a couple of years, I knew I was supposed to be going back, but I'm just like, things are so busy. I just keep pushing it off, right? So then, but there's always this one recurrent, not one, it's like 3 different recurring dreams about school that I'm always late, or when I get to school, I can't find my schedule. Then I had to end up going to the office and be like, I lost my schedule again. I don't even know what class I'm supposed to be in, right? But it's 3 different, it's like the same 3 recurring dreams, right? And it's always in like a college format, or it's like an advanced, but I get there and it's like, where you at? They're like looking for me when they held a class for you. Why you're not showing up? These type of dreams, but it's 3 specific dreams that keep recurring like over the last 5 years, right? And so even this time I was in there and it was just kind of like really, really strong that I should go ahead. The cycle has come back again. Just get this out the way. There's something else coming. So I'm just like, I was like, well, let me see y'all. Let me see y'all program. Because when I graduated with my associates from them back in 2008. Right. But when I was going there, they didn't have all they had was associates programs. So by the time I had enrolled into the next college to get my bachelor's, like a year after I had been in, like halfway through my program, they had finished developing theirs, and now they had bachelor's programs, and now they have master's programs, right? We all the way in 2022, about to be in 2023 in a few weeks. but it's like this is something I've known. I'm not just like a researcher here, right? But I am truly, I understand portion of my life is to develop the teaching portion of my skills and stuff, right? Not just with the research. So when I was in there, I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead. And then so we went and I just kind of pushed it off again. Oh, this is about Jeremiah. We going. I didn't get him through the homeschool. Now it's time to get him into college format, right? So just in case you didn't know, if you're homeschooling your children, you're not sure about their high school diplomas, colleges absolutely accept homeschool diplomas from parents. Matter of fact, they look for homeschool students because they grade and they rank so high, right? They get that one-on-one focus with their parents or whatever. And there's also the homeschool clearinghouse that when your children graduate, whatever program you use, or even if you create a curriculum from scratch for them, you can get in touch with the homeschool clearinghouse and you can upload their grades and they'll help you prepare the transcript for your child, right? So when they go to apply for colleges, the colleges, all they simply do is go request the transcripts from the clearinghouse like they do with the public school students. I'm like, holy crap, who would ever known that this was such a thing? And I worried about this for years, right? Didn't have no issues, pulled his grades from the clearinghouse, and he went through, got everything straight, just in case you were wondering if you didn't know. Some of you may, some of you may not. This is a new thing that we just learned recently. So he squared away there. But it wasn't, just kind of make a little long story short, it wasn't to actually, I was in orientation yesterday. I'm still like, I'm gonna drop this. We got so much coming up. I don't even know if I have the time for this right now. But I felt like deep inside, I was like, I really should keep going and not drop this. So I get in there, right? And so sitting in orientation, getting there, they give me my schedule and all this stuff is already packaged. They just, what's your name, this, and gave my name. So they gave me my stuff, right? And so I get over there and sit down and I open it up. Of course, there's my schedule in there. But guess what else is in there? Something that completely just like, it was like a confirmation. Look, girl, you in the right place. Chill out. You only got a year and you'll be done, right? But listen, all of this time that we've been studying, even going through Oahspe, there's a little card in here, right? They put like this little thing in here. And guess what this says? It says, we rise by lifting others. And I was like, wait a minute, little girl, what's wrong?
No,
what happened?
Trying to get down her piece.
Oh, you fell?
On that.
Oh, hold on, y'all. What she fall on? Thank you. Okay, all is well. Yeah. I am live now. Yeah. Okay. Baby doll was getting off the bed, and my son has like a huge bed with a little seat on it, but it's pointed at the corner. So when she was getting down, she tried to come down on that side, but she slipped and she fell and she hit her butt on it. Only children can manage to do stuff like that when they fall. I don't know, but she fine. She got on pamper. She all right. It's just the shock of it all. All right. But the card said, we rise by lifting others. And that is like the whole theme of Oahspe going through here, right? We rise through the realms, through earth. We graduate by helping lift others, right? And so that right there was like a confirmation, right? And so they have this in here with the sun rising and stuff. I'm like, okay, must be time, right? Because at any other time, I probably wouldn't have caught that had not have been where I am, even transitioning spiritually and going through Oahspe. But also, when I pulled my schedule out, I haven't thought about these dreams. It's been a couple months since I had one of my recurring school dreams. But when I pulled my schedule out, after I saw that, because that was right up top, And as I was going through the papers and I pulled my schedule out, it was like I had one of the moments while I was sitting there, all them dreams, boom, 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 hit me back to back. I'm like, holy crap. I was like, wait, is this what did this actually mean that I literally needed to go back to school, right? Because I already like felt that, right? Like some things you just know about yourself, depending on your spiritual walk and what path you got to take. You just know that there's some things that you absolutely have to do. It's for, not that everybody has to do it, but for whatever it is that you are being shaped and molded for, this is a part of your course, your life's path, right? There's just sometimes some things that we absolutely know about our own personal path that we have to do. And it's incumbent upon us when to actually set it in motion, when we actually walk through that particular portion, some of it anyway, right? So that was really interesting. I wanted to share that with y'all. But I shared it with you because when I got my schedule, I realized that my first course is completely virtual, right? So I'm like, yes, it's completely virtual. Although I do have to log in at a certain time on Saturdays, but I don't have to travel 45 minutes to get to school to actually be there, which means what? On Saturdays, for another few weeks, at least for this first term, we got a little bit more time to play with so we can be right here, right? So I ain't got to be rushing. I can literally probably finish, I can prep and just in this like 10 minutes before I need to be online, right? So we can still start at like 7:30. I don't know. We can still start at 7:30. We'll see. We'll see. Or I might just give us a little bit more time because I don't know. Maybe we'll just move to 7 something. I don't know. But I said all that to say we got a little bit more time to play with. All right, y'all. So let's get started. Who else came in? Yahweh, Shalom. Animalistic nature, peace and blessings. Hannah Grand Rising. BC, Shalom. All right, y'all. Did I miss somebody? Levon, greetings. Nazarene is seeing faith. Did I already say hey to you? If I did, well, hell, second time. Or the first time if I didn't. If I didn't. That's true. My sister was homeschooled and she did the same process as you're talking about. Okay. Angelique, Shalom. Oahspe College University. Light and peace. All right, y'all, let's get started. Okay, so chapter 3 on page 7, Book of Jehovah. Thus spake Jehovah by the light of Cosmon, proclaimed he these things amongst the nations of the earth. Man looked upward in prayer, desiring to know the manner of all created things, both on earth and in heaven. And Jehovah answered him, saying, the whirlwind made I as a sign to man of the manner of my created worlds. As thou beholdest the power of the whirlwind, gathering up the dust of the earth and driving it together, know that even so do I bring together the Aj and Ga and nebula in the firmament of heaven. By the power of the whirlwind, create I the corporal suns, moon, and stars. Hold on. Yeah, no, that's from my first time reading through. I was just making sure. Wait a minute, did I? No, this is the first time we was reading through where I made those marks. Okay. Verse 3. The whirlwind made I as a sign to man of the manner of my created worlds. As thou beholdest the power of the whirlwind, gathering up the dust of the earth and driving it together, know that even so do I bring together the Aj and Ga and nebula in the firmament of heaven. By the power of the whirlwind create I the corporal sun and moons and stars. And I commanded man to name the whirlwinds in the ethereal firmament, and he named them vortices and wark, W-A-R-K, according to their shape, named he them. So reference number 7 and reference number 8 is after, and he named them vortices and wark, and according to their shape named he them. Both 7 and 8 says called instead of name. It was called before, and he called them by their names or their whatever, right? Okay. Verse 4, by the power of rotation, swift driving forth in the extreme parts, condense I the atmosphere and worlds that float in the firmament, and these become my corporal worlds. In the midst of the vortices made I them, and by the power of the vortices I turned them on their axes and carried them in the orbits I allotted to them. Wider than to the moons of a planet have I created the vortices, and they carry the moons also. Around about some of my corporal worlds have I given nebulous belts and rings, that man might comprehend the rotation of my vortexian worlds. For each and every corporal world created I a vortex first, and by its rotation and by the places in the firmament whither it traveleth, caused I the vortex to conceive the corporal world. A great vortex created I for the sun, and within this vortex and subject to it, made I the vortices of many of the corporal worlds. The sun vortex I caused to rotate, and I gave it power to carry other vortices within it. According to their density and position, are they thus carried forth and around about the sun. Think not, O man, that I created the sky a barren waste and void of use. Even as man in the corporal form is adapted to the corporal earth, so is he in the spiritual form adapted to my Etherian worlds. Three great estates have I bestowed on man: the corporal, the atmospherian, and the Etherian. And after Etherian, it's reference letter C. So go to the end of the book, or the end of this book, Book of Jehovah, on page 13. And C says, C plate 18, Etheria, page 461. Plate 18. Okay. So on page 461, plate 18 looks like a bunch of atoms right here. That's a picture of like ethereal up close, like particles or atoms or whatever. It's like a microscopic view, I would say. Okay. Facebook, shalom, shalom. Okay, so go back to go to page 8, chapter 4. Man perceived the general foundation of the world, and he prayed that his eyes might be opened for a sign in heaven. And Jehovah answered him, saying, and before I go on, foundation, after foundation is the number 9, and number 9 at the bottom simply says formation. Man perceived the general foundation of the world, and he prayed that his eyes might be opened for a sign in heaven. And Jehovah answered him, saying, the clouds in the air I bring into view suddenly by different currents of wind, make I thus the unseen visible and tangible to man's senses. In like manner do I cause Etherian currents to bring forth Aj and Ga and nebula, prying to making corporal worlds. In all the universe have I made the unseen to rule over the seen. Let the formation of the clouds stand in the view of man on earth, that he may bear witness to the manner of the unseen becoming seen. Man perceived, and he prayed for a sign of duration, and Jehovah answered him, saying, behold, the tree which hath sprung up out of the ground and fulfilled its time, it falleth and rotteth and returneth to the earth. No, I'm good, man. Thanks. Verse 5. Behold the tree which hath sprung up out of the ground and fulfilled its time. It falleth and rotted and returneth to the earth. But lo, the wind which thou seest not never ceaseth to blow. Even so is the comparative duration of all things. Think not, O man, that corporal things are annihilated because they disappear. For as a drop of water evaporateth and riseth in the air as unseen vapor, so do all corporal things, even earth and stones and gold and silver and lead, become as nothing in the firmament of heaven in the course of time. Things that man seeth, created I with a beginning and an end, but the unseen I made of endless duration. The corporal man made I belonging to the seen, but the spiritual man made I as one within the unseen and everlasting. As the corporal man beholdeth corporal things, so doth the spiritual man follow upward the evaporated corporal entities of things. As corporal things are tangible to corporeans, so are S things tangible to the spirits of the dead. Remember that S is just representing the spiritual realm. S-E-S. Verse 9, page 8. As I cause water to rise upward as a vapor and take a place in the air above, let it be a sign and testimony of other places in atmosphere whereon dwell the spirits of the lower heaven. As I made a limit to the ascent of the clouds, so made I a limit to the places of the different kinds of substances in atmosphere, the more subtle and potent to the extreme, and the more dense and impotent nearer to the earth. According to the condition of these different plateaus and atmosphere, whether they be near the earth or high above, so shall the spirit of man take its place in the first heaven, according to his diet and desires and behavior. So shall he dwell in spirit on the plateau to which he hath adapted himself during his life. All right. So whatever you do here resonates there, right? If you just sitting and you cool and thinking that you didn't made it and this is all you need to know, then that's the realm you're gonna be hanging out when you pass on from here amongst other people that are currently in that state. Now they may not stay there, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully they continue to blow right past where you decide to sit and wait forever until you graduated, right? But in the course of time, hopefully after you done found yourself being there for a little while, if that is the case with you, hopefully you'll decide to grow with those who are growing on, right? Hopefully you'll just follow the ones that are continuing past that point, which will help you to grow, right? Why you in spirit? Listen, hold on. Let me read verse 10. No, let me go back to 9. I'm going to read that again. Nope. Verse 8. As the corporal man beholdeth corporal things, so doth the spirit man follow upward the evaporated corporal entities of things. As corporal things are tangible to corporeans, so are as things tangible to the spirits of the dead. As I cause water to rise upward as vapor and take a place in the air above, let it be a sign and testimony of other places in atmosphere whereon dwell the spirits of the lower heaven. As I made a limit to the ascent of the clouds, so made I a limit to the places of the different kinds of substances in atmosphere, the more subtle and potent to the extreme, and the more dense and impotent nearer to the earth. All right. So if your spirit is dense, you just hover low, close to the earth. If not, walking side by side with some of the ones who still driving their bodies around, right? And remember, flesh holds down the spirit. Your spirit will not be light enough to rise, right? Because what's within your spirit? Flesh and blood. It's mingled in there, right? And it becomes a part of you, right? So now you can't rise because you've ingested other flesh, right? The spirits of these animals are entwined within your spirit, right? And because of that, you have to stay where they are required to stay in the first heaven, which is incumbent upon you now to go ahead and start flushing your system out, your flesh and your spirit. Because as you flush your flesh, your spirit will be cleaned out too, right? And you'll get lighter and lighter. According to the condition, verse 11, page 8, according to the condition of these different plateaus and atmosphere, whether they be near the earth or high above, so shall the spirit of man take its place in the first heaven according to his diet and desires and behavior. So shall he dwell in spirit on the plateau to which he hath adapted himself during his life. For I made the power of attraction manifest in all things before man's eyes, that he might not err, that like should attract like, made I them. Man sought to know the progress of things. Jehovah answered him, saying, open thine eyes, O man. There is a time of childhood, a time of Genesis, a time of old age, and a time of death to all men. Even so is it with all the corporal worlds I have created. First as vapor, the vortex carrieth it forth, and as it condenseth, its friction engendereth heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. Then it taketh its place as a newborn world, and I set it in the orbit prepared for it. In the next age, I bring it into Simu, for it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures, for I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdoms. Next it entereth Hotu, for it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who are in dotage. Next it entereth Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. Then cometh Uz, and it is spirited away into unseen realms. Or like for women, next it entereth Adu, which will probably be like menopause, or we're no longer having a menstrual cycle, and nothing can generate upon this flesh anymore. Next it entereth, hold on. Next it entereth Hotu, for it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who are in dotage. Next it entereth Adu, and nothing can generate upon it. Then cometh Uz, and it is spirited away into the unseen realms. Thus create I, and thus dissipate planets, suns, moons, and stars. My examples are before all men. My witnesses are without number. I raise the tree up out of the ground. I give it a time to bring forth fruit, and then barrenness, and then death and dissolution. I prepare the new field with rich soil, bringing forth, and the old field that is exhausted, and man shall weigh the progress and destiny of the whole world. Let no man marvel, because the size of mammoth and the Ichthyosaurus, for there was a time for them as there is a time for the Infusora of this day. I have given thee a sign, O man, in the queen of the honeybee, because of the change. Okay. I have given thee a sign, O man, in the queen of the honeybee, because of the change of the cell cometh she forth a queen, even from the same manner of germ as other bees. Be wise, therefore, and remember that the earth is not in the place of the firmament as of old. Let this be a testimony to thee of growth, the change and the travail of the earth. Nevertheless, O man, the seen and the unseen are but parts of my person. I am the unity of the whole. Chapter 5. Auntie Grant Rising. Shebrew, hey, girl, hey. Page 8, chapter 5. Man perceived the magnitude and glory of the corporal worlds. He said, how shall I speak of thy great work, O Jehovah, and of thy wisdom and power? Shall I open my mouth before thee? I look upon thy countless stars, suns, and moons spread out over the heavens. The millions of years thou hast driven them on in the never-ending firmament. And after driven them on, after driven is reference number 10, and 10 at the bottom says rolled, Rolled, rolled them on. Verse 2, no, I'm sorry. The millions of years thou hast driven them on in the never-ending firmament, processions in and out and round about of mighty worlds, by thy breath going forth. O thou all highest, how shall I hide my insignificance? I cannot create the smallest thing alive, nay, nor change the color of a hair on my head. What am I that thou hast seen me? Tell me, O my creator, whence came life, this unseen within me that is conscious of being? Tell me how all the living came into life. Jehovah heard the words of man, and he answered him, saying, let a sign be given to man that he may comprehend Simu. Thereupon Jehovah caused the jellyfish and the green scum of water to be permanently coming forth in all ages, that man might understand the age of Simu, when the earth and the shores by the water, and the waters also, were covered over with co-mingled atmosphere and corporal substance. And this substance was called Simu, because by Jehovah's presence quickened he it into life, And thus made he all the living, both the vegetable and the animal worlds. Not that Simu is jellyfish or the green scum of the water, for the earth in this day produceth not Simu abundantly. Nevertheless, the jellyfish and the green scum of water are signs of that which was in that day of the earth. Jehovah said, because of my presence, quickened I into life all that live or ever have lived, because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus made I them. And I remember the first time reading this, when I read through that, it dawned on me that you have a lot of people, they refer to the Father as he, right? Coming out of Christianity, we refer to the Father as he. But then you come out and you're starting to grow, and people begin referring to the Father as mother, as she, or she, the great creator. And I'm like, and first, when I first heard that, it just struck me as odd, like blasphemy. But the more I said, I was like, I'm gonna leave them alone, because it could be me that's missing some information. I learned how to do that early on, because a lot of time when I thought I knew what I thought I knew, I found out that I really didn't know what I thought I had knew. And I looked quite foolish trying to push information half cocked, right? So I'm like, well, hold on, I could be missing some information, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I can see how that is. And the first time I heard somebody say, well, not the first time, but somebody that just kept constantly repeating it was Big Judah. He refers to like the earthly mother, right? But he was saying the earthly mother, but which he says is the Holy Spirit. When I first heard it, it just kind of I'm like, bruh, I was with you on some of this other stuff, but I don't know. But the more I began to study, and then I began to look at the earth, I'm like, well, yeah, the earth really can be considered like as our mother, because the body comes from the dirt, but the spirit comes from the Father. And then I started thinking about my whole little study that I did in Genesis, right? Where we were created from the Father and the mother representing the earth, which is why we died. We give our body back to her. While we're here, she nurtures us just like a mother nurtures her baby at her bosom, right? I was like, well, shoot, there's a lot of truth in that. I was like, but if they're referring to mother as that, then I can see, yeah, okay. But then I was having some other questions. I was like, are you saying that the Father, the one who resides in the unseen, and you're not talking about, are you saying that he's a she? So then I was going through this whole little phase, and then I'm like, well, and I came to the point, I was like, well, it seems like there's some truth in that. And there's definitely some truth in this. I said, but there has to be a middle ground somewhere where we can bring these points of view together to figure this thing out, right? And so the way I look at it, when people say she, I no longer look at them like they crazy. I was like, because there is truth in that. It truly is. When they say he, I'm just kind of programmed to say he. And by default, I say he a lot of times, right? It's just, I don't know. I personally like just saying he, right? But there's truth in that as well. But the truth of the matter is, just like this says, because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus I made them. We are the best portions of our creator, which why creator, I believe, you can call the Father, I like the Father, the most holy, right? You can call him whatever, him, she, whatever you want to call them. But I think the term that encompasses all of what our Father is, both parts, male and female, whether you're talking about masculine energy, the feminine energy, it's all encompassed in the word creator, right? Because we are, everything here that we can see is an exploded version of all that is in him. And just like the minute things that we can see, we need to begin to touch on the unseen realms that's a part of him, because all things come out of him. When we look at male and female, we just divided. We're a divided portion of a greater whole, which is why when you bring the two divided portions together and you make that whole, now the whole can also reproduce and create life, just like the great creator. We're miniature creators, right? And if you put the right pieces together, we can create just like the Father creates, right? So I leave people alone that refer to creator as she, or I'm like, I get it, whatever. I keep on going. It ain't gonna stop me from being your friend or talking to you, or even having a conversation with you where we can go through some stuff and research, and I listen to your point of view and you listen to mine. Because like I said, I could be missing some information. At that time, I'm glad I decided to shut my mouth, right? Because I was missing some information. Prince, shalom, shalom. Yes, baby. Oh, those are pops. He'll be back in a few minutes. He'll probably give you some. Hold on. The visible part is she like the earth, right? Yeah, I like that email. Hold on. Oahspe College University say even the seventh era of faith is brotherhood tried to explain the he and she of the creator. I just moved on it, right? Yes, baby. Yes. Yeah, those pops. He'll be back in a few minutes. I'm sure he's gonna give y'all some. Just wait a few minutes. He'll give y'all some. All right, y'all. So let's go back. Verse 5, page 9. Hey, chill. Okay. No, that's not Bella's. That's Jabria's. Matter of fact, just give it here. Give it to me. Let me see it. Just you can get it. And I'm going to take it to the I'll need none of the pieces getting lost. Okay. All right. They're long. All right. Verse 5. Yes. Nope. Leave that alone. Jehovah said, because of my presence, quickened I into life all that live or ever have lived. Because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus made I them. Because I am the power to quicken into life, so in likeness of me, thus made I them with power to bring forth, right? You put them together, the male and the female, and voila, right? People try other ways, right? Let them do their experiments. I ain't gonna say, yeah, you wrong, you whatever. Your results will show you whether you got it right or not, right? You can't get two male plugs coming together. It's going to produce no power. Now, you might get a little bit of friction going on, right? Sparks and stuff flying off. But you ain't going to get no real power. Just like you can't take two female parts and put them together. It's going to be bumping. It's going to be some friction, maybe some, not even sparks for real, right? But you have to get, I'm not going to use the fingers to do this, but you have to get the male part, which is protruding, and you have to get a female part, which is a receiver, just like you take a plug and plug it into the wall. Eureka, right? You have to get the male part going into the proper female type socket in order to get the power of reproduction, all right? Or we can produce light, right? So you can test. A lot of people testing it. I don't know if, let me just go on. Verse 7. According to their respective places, created I the living, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs and thousands and in millions. Let me go back. Let me go back up to verse 5. Jehovah said, because of my presence, quicken I into life all that live or ever have lived. Because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus made I them. Because I am the power to quicken into life, so in likeness of me, thus made I them, and with power to bring forth. According to their respective places, created I the living. Listen, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs and thousands and in millions. According to their respective places, and the light upon Simu, so quicken I them in their color, adapted to their dwelling places. Now, this right here blows that whole everybody come from Africa thing out of the water, because we do not, right? That's something I also couldn't quite wrap my head around. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna kick y'all out of the kitchen. Because if you look at, people got all these different scientific theories and stuff on how we got all these different races and everybody come from the black man and the black woman. I don't see that as being logical. Like, I get what y'all saying, but as I listen to this, I'm like, that is not logical. Like, because first of all, I'm like, if that was happening before, why is it not still happening now? Right? I was like, something is wrong with this way of thinking. And people that don't research or actually look into it, because just listen to it right off top, okay, that sounds logical to you. Really think about what they're saying. I'm like, okay, so how do you account? And that was always my thing. how do you account for the different cranial structures of the different races, to whereby people who are, what do you call those who study bones and stuff? But the people who can study bones and tell the race of a person based on how far, like, the eyes are away from the nose structure and the mouth and everything, they can tell this was an African American. No, this was an Asian person, or no, this was a Mongolian, right? I'm like, how do we account for that? I say, because if everybody was coming from the black man and woman, we should still be seeing this in the hospitals today. I was like, this doesn't make sense. And people just go on with this. And I'm just like, you know what? That I'm going to keep on looking. Y'all happy with that? I'm not. That sounds like complete foolishness to me. And you tell them that, they get completely mad. I was like, listen, just look, common sense, really. Then why is it not happening now? But you still having the different races being born. They're like coming from themselves, unless they're mixing with other races, getting a different type of product, right? But it's still a good product, right? The color, the shade is a little bit different, but you have all of this, right? And the first time I came across something, it was when I was reading the Apocrypha. No, was it Apocrypha? Yeah, the Apocrypha in Jubilees. And it hints to this, right? Where it says it wasn't just Adam and Eve made in a garden, right? There were multiple sets. And I said it before, it's in, I'm almost certain it's in chapter 2 of Jubilees. I'm going to find it. I'm going to give it to you, because it's Jubilees chapter, I want to say chapter 2. It's definitely not past chapter 3, because it's right in the beginning, why it's recounting the creation story. And I think it's right above, right before it starts talking about the Sabbath portion. Yeah, it's right before the Sabbath portion. So it has to be, hold on, I'm going to have to look this up. Jubilees chapter 2, where it says, and even then it says it was only 26 kind, right? I was like, it definitely had to be more than 26 kinds, right? But clearly we know there's pieces missing. They added what they want, they took away what they wanted, whatever, right? But there, right there, for me to see that, I'm like, see, I knew it was more than just one man and one woman, because it's impossible to reproduce an earth like that. And even if you read in the Genesis story, if everybody came from Adam and Eve, then please explain to me, who did Cain go hang out with when he got kicked out after he killed his brother? I'm like, so, and the population of Nod, the population of people, where did they come from? Right? I'm just like, how do we just skip over all of this? I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep doing my own research. Y'all had it. I said, but something is wrong with this. I ain't no longer sitting in here being quiet and just taking whatever y'all want to give me. I was like, something is wrong with this. I said, because if I go on with this information, I'm gonna be held accountable, because I done followed what you said, but you just following what they said, and y'all just continually peddling garbage from the pulpit to the pews. I was like, I'm out of this church. Goodbye. Like, I'm not sitting in these filthy, ignorant pews anymore. So listen. So this right here, y'all, I'm telling you, when I read that, it just took me, I was so excited when I read that in Jubilees. I was like, I knew I wasn't tripping. I knew it was more than one man and one woman that was created when everything was first created. I was like, because this is, and that just strengthened me a little bit more, just to kind of keep going on my search and just looking for more information, right? Okay, listen. I'm going to go back up to 5 and I'm going to keep reading. Where we at? We at 48 minutes. I'll probably read one more chapter, then we'll hop into the field guide to the spirit world. Okay, I'll go back to verse 5. We're on page 9. Jehovah said, because of my presence, quicken I into life all that live or ever have lived. Because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus made I them. Because I am the power to quicken into life, so into likeness. They can sit in there, Elijah, until I get down. Because I am the power to quicken into life, so in likeness of me, thus made I them with the power to bring forth. According to their respective places, created I the living, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs, and thousands, and in millions. And that right there would kill the whole incest thing. Because when you say everybody came from one man and one woman, now we have to violate a rule of the creator, which is no incest. And we can see when you are having incest, something happens to the product that's reproduced, right? They come on, this is not, but y'all see people who are born of incest, right? They have mental issues, they're deformed, they're slow, and that's not but that solves that issue, right? That throws that completely out. We don't even have to deal with that, right? Because that wasn't a thing. According to their respective places, created I the living, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs, and thousands, and in millions. According to their respective places, and the light upon Simu, so quicken I them in their color, adapted to their dwelling places. Each and every living thing created I new upon the earth, of a kind, each to itself, and not one living thing created I out of another. Let a sign be upon the earth, that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and becometh another, right? So you ain't getting multiple people from black people. Black people is reproducing black people. White people reproducing white people. Chinese people reproducing Chinese people, unless they come together and they reproduce a blackanese or whatever. I'm serious. Y'all know this, they're not called blackanese. I just been funny. Let a sign be upon the earth, that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and becometh another. Thereupon Jehovah gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father, but he caused the new product to be barren, right? And this is right after this is D, and it's about to give you the example of the horse and the mule, bringing forth the the horse and the donkey, whether it's male or female. It's going to bring forth the henny or a mule. D on page 13. Hold on, let me read again. Thereupon Jehovah gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father, but he caused a new product to be barren. Page 13, letter D says, for example, a mule is the barren offspring of a horse and a donkey. These passages clearly indicate that the definitive mechanism behind the anatomical progression evident in the evolutionary tree was intelligent design. Whether or not natural selection or mutation contributed to anything to that process, nevertheless, the fact does not preclude the act of creation from being instrumental in this process as well. 1882 Elohist edition. So what happens now is when you have two things that come together that aren't supposed to come together and they reproduce, right? The product of what they reproduce is going to be barren. So you cannot make any more of those monsters. Right? And that tells us, so mules, they not going to have sex with anybody, right? They can still enjoy the act of, intimacy with other animals or what other mules, whatever. If they can find another one that's close, right? If not, they can probably go to a horse or alpaca or something. I don't know. But they're not going to be able to reproduce. They're going to be barren, sterile, right? And that's the creator showing that this should not happen this way, right? It should not be happening. I didn't create this. When you come through and you make something that shouldn't be here, it's going to be sterile and it's going to die off. We don't have to worry about that, right? Listen. Thereupon Jehovah gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father, but he caused the new product to be barren. Jehovah said, and this shall be testimony before all men, that I created each and all the living after their own kind only, which also should reiterate to us that no matter what color The human species we are of one kind. We are just different shades, right? So we can clearly, a black person can clearly go have sex with a Chinese person and they can reproduce. And that Blackanese baby can go and have sex with whoever they want to have sex with, as long as they're of the human species, and they can also reproduce. They're not barren, right? So that should kill the whole racial thing right there, right? And I know people like to separate colors. We like all the purple colors here, all the black colors here, all the white colors, all the peach looking colors here. We got the yellow. Some people like to keep the separation. But if you look at the creator and what he does, I'm just saying, right? He got all these different raw ingredients. I mean, it's just like a cake, right? Or whatever ingredient, whatever you go to make, right? There are some ingredients that are raw and some that you don't eat raw, but some people do. But all of the separate ingredients are good in themselves, right? And a lot of them can stand on their own. But a lot of times when you bring them together, they make another whole dish that's absolutely marvelous, right? And it's like, who was the creator of this dish? Can you bring he or she out? I would like to thank them personally for this. Right, and it's no different with us. We're like raw products, but we're still good and we taste good all on our own, right? But some people like to mix flavors, right? Baskin Robbins got 31 flavors. Some people like to taste all the flavors. As long as you stand within a human species, it's okay. At least that's my understanding of this now. I didn't feel that way some time ago. But now I do as I'm growing. I'm like, what is we tripping about? Everybody can reproduce. Not saying that you should reproduce with everybody because, just use some wisdom. Okay, let me go. Verse 10, page 9. Let a sign be upon the earth, that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and becometh another. Thereupon Jehovah gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father. But he caused the new product to be barren. Jehovah said, and this shall be testimony before all men, that I created each and all the living after their own kind only. Such is my person and my spirit, being from everlasting to everlasting. And when I bring a new world into the time of Simu, lo and behold, my presence quickeneth the substance into life, according to the locality and the surroundings. So do I bring forth the different species, for they are flesh of my flesh and spirit of my spirit. To themselves give I themselves. Nevertheless, they are all members of my person. As a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire, nor was there any sea thereon. But in due season I rained down Simu on the earth, and by virtue of my presence quickened I into life all the living. Without seed created I the life that is in them. And I said we was going to read another chapter, but we're going to pause right here. And we'll pick up chapter 6 tomorrow because we're already at like 57 minutes. Take the hey, girl, hey. I ain't say nothing like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or even some caramel. I'm just saying, look. I like I love chocolate, right? Which is why I married a chocolate man, right? But that's my personal preference, right? I'm with you, right? But ain't nothing wrong if you like the some people like, lighter colors, and it's okay if you like white chocolate, whatever. I mean, that's fine. Some people like a little spice. Some people like a little oregano. I mean, that's okay.
Jackson, stop crying, please.
Lord, some people ain't gonna like that. Shebrew. I watch Lovecraft Country. That was one weird show. I'm worried about the mind of the person who put it together. Listen, when I was first going through it, I'm like, what in the world? But if you watch it, did you watch it all the way through? All of them that they have up there? If I had to watch that before I had started reading Oahspe, I would have missed like a whole lot of stuff. And I'd be like, y'all stay away from this. But I was able to see like a lot of spiritual things, especially with a lot of the supernatural stuff that began to happen, especially when the magic started happening. And look, shucks, they even got in there, the black guy, Tick, his name Tick, right? When he found out that he was a part of a family that look, they was all white and he black, but they didn't want to let him know that he was the rightful heir to all of this stuff. I'm like, yo, right? It's just a lot of stuff in there that I saw. Tickler said some other candy is nice, but me crave chocolate. I know, right, sis? Look. Ain't nothing wrong with all the other flavors. Everybody got their own taste. All right, listen. Okay. Where did we stop? Page. Hold on for my page. Page 9. I'll put it over here. Okay, y'all. So hop over to the field guide to the spirit world. Nope. I already told Bella no. Leave this alone. Don't mess with this.
Wait until you come back to it.
We paused on page 44. Okay, so we was learning about some of these conditions, right? Okay, so we went through like OCD, bulimia, bipolar, spirit possession, a satanic victim, mediumships, the undeveloped and the developed, multiple personality disorders, autism, and hysteria, right? And that was the table 2.1 on page 43, and it's entitled Nobody's Home. And it gave some of the people who were inhabited by some of these alter spirits or these other spirits that didn't belong in their body, right? And some of the descriptions of how they knew, they could tell something was off, like I felt like somebody else was driving my body around, right? Or I just blacked out. Just different key things that they're picking up while they're doing this research on the different people who have these certain disorders or psychotic behaviors and stuff like that, right? Okay. So it picks back up on page 44. And when some of those people, we have like John Wayne Gacy, you have that was earlier. I ain't gonna go through and list all the names. Oh, they gave the names in a previous chapter, but they gave like the first names of some of the other ones, like Betsy, Jersey, Michelle, etc. Right? Okay. So this chapter is entitled Flight of the Soul. Yes, Tikva, Dahmer, recent one here, currently our time. Some of these other ones too, they didn't already, just pulled their bodies away from them. But listen though, y'all, listen. Something I'm wondering about though. Some of the people that they have, we revoking your earth privileges and then we're gonna take your body away and they kill them, the electric chair or whatever. That literally sets not only the native spirit set it free, but also that psychotic spirit that came over them, it puts them back out there too, right? So you got to be mindful of some of these things and where is it going to show up next, right? Or is anybody in such a depraved state that allows that door to be open again for this particular spirit to come back, and now your name is John Doe, but the same type of stuff begins happening. They sometimes call it like copycats or copycat killer and stuff like that. No, it was the first person that we had. If y'all done already took his earth privileges away, and you got something else happening in the same exact type way, they sometimes call it a copycat killer, copying them. I would disagree. Yeah, it seems like it's a copycat, but if you already then took this person, they gone into eternity, it's probably that same spirit that was attacking them has found another opening in this person over here via their lifestyle, whether it's trauma or whatever, that allowed that same type of door to be open to where that same spirit could come back and now inhabit another person. Sit up there. Right, and just like that, and they come back like, this is mine too. Right, now you got another whole crazed killer on the loose. All right, so page 44, y'all. The DC sniper, yo, I'll never forget the DC sniper. Listen, Tickle said, plus in this day and time, we find out about a whole lot more of these demonic spirits, even the DC sniper. I ain't gonna say I take a personal liking to the DC sniper. I don't, but let me tell you, when a DC sniper, boy, every time we went to the darn store, because we didn't know whether they was traveling or what. So anytime we had to go to the store when the DC sniper was on the loose, I was like, babe, we can't be standing still. We gotta, just in case, because you can't hit a moving target. So we stand in the lines, like talking, act like we dancing or something, looking foolish in the store. But if it's me and him, people like, oh, they had a good time. Like, no, sis, we trying to keep from getting shot. So we was doing foolish stuff like that, right? Because we was like, we don't know if dude is on the loose, if he traveling. We right there because we go back and forth between DC. It's like right there. He could be here in VA, right? Listen. But when I got tired of dancing around like that, seriously, I was following the DC sniper, right? I was literally following the news clippings and all of these things. And one time I was like, Father, I said, this is too much. I said, now I know we'd probably never run up on him where we'd be the target of one of his shootings. I said, but this has got to stop, right? And I decided to do like a 3-day fast. And I said, if ain't nobody else praying for this DC sniper to get caught, I am. And I was fasting, and I specifically, because the way they was describing him, like he had a lot of training, the way they was describing him, I was like, they're gonna have to catch this joker asleep. So my prayer was that they would catch him asleep. Guys, do you know the very next day, I kid you not, as y'all as my witness on my life, the very next day they caught this man and a young boy that he had under his influence asleep in their car. I was like, oh my God, babe, did you see how they caught them? Did you see how they caught them? Remember what I told you I was praying for? I asked them, I said, because they are dangerous. I said, they're going to have to catch them asleep. I said, Father, let them catch them slipping and catch them asleep so they have no time to react and they can get them. That literally the very next day, they caught them in their car sleep. I was like, now that could be a coincidence, but I'm sure I was not the only person praying that they get caught. I figured that mine just added to the amount of prayers that was going on. Like, oh my God, get these people off the road, just taking people out left and right. Like, no, like we're gonna shoot you. We're gonna like not even have a reason. Like, you've been on my bucket list for years. I've been looking for you, just randomly shooting people. You know, I'm just like, I was like, it's like pure coincidence, right?
It's more than one person.
Yeah, right. I figured just mine just added to the ocean of prayers that was already out there. But for it to happen the very next day, like within 24 hours, yo, that still blows my mind when I think about it, y'all. Listen, okay, let's finish reading. Okay, page 44. Adrift in a nameless limbo, psyche is set to attract homeless entities. The same applies to the phony persona. John Kapler's persona was all veneer, all show, a surface self. The biographer of this crazed killer calls it the armor of his false self. Inside was a void, prey to usurping entities. Kapler's empty vessel of self had attracted negative controls. The same kind of force found its way into the mind of Arthur Shawcross, one of New York's most notorious random killers. I knew something, quote, I knew something was coming over me that I couldn't control, end quote. Quote, no matter what I do, it ain't right, end quote. Arthur recalled of his youth. Hey, babe.
Hey, come on, flat down.
The grandbabies are trying to eat your jalapeno Cheetos. His mother from hell called him stupid, dummy, dumb bastard, and the like. Arthur began running away from home at 6. Wow. She was talking to her baby like this. He ran away from home when he was 6 years old. Bella just turned 6. Listen, so this his mom opened him up to things like this happening to him when he got older, right? So this is a trauma that was inflicted upon him. Let me read this again. The same kind of force. Hey, Jackson. The same kind of force found its way into the mind of Arthur Shawcross, one of New York's most notorious random killers. Quote, I knew something was coming over me that I couldn't control. End quote. Quote, no matter what I do, it ain't right. End quote. Arthur recalled of his youth. His mother from hell called him stupid, dummy, dumb bastard, and the like. Arthur began running away from home at 6. His real self also ran away into the void of abeyance. The real problem, absent self. Olson, 1993, page 52 and 487. So when it was happening, somebody who was supposed to have been caring for him when she began to berate her 5 and 6-year-old son, and probably way before then, he would just click out, right? He would run away spiritually within himself. And then as he got a little bit older and he could get out the door or whatever, he began to physically run away with his body, right? And so how he got possessed is the absence of self driving the physical body, abeyance of self. But people do that, they click out to protect themselves. When they feel like they don't have any other way to protect themselves, they click out and begin to ignore the world, right? It's called abeyance of self. You go absent, nobody's home. Look, Arthur, is anybody home? A school teacher said that to him, and it says a school teacher. That was quote, Arthur, is anybody home? End quote. A school teacher. Killer Eric Chapman felt as though he lacked an ego, felt hollow and invisible. Markham and Bosco, 1989, page 303 to 304. Hollow. When the mind goes blank, it becomes like a slate, a tabula rasa, as when mediums perform automatic writing in a total relaxed, even blank state of mind, independent of their volition. William Howard performed automatic drawing, quote, without a thought of my own, end quote. George Russell, 1918, pages 58 through 59, wrote that, quote, once in an idle interval in my work, I sat with my face pressed in my hands, and in that dimness, pictures began flicking in my brain. While I was in this vacant mood, my companion, co-worker, had been thinking of his home, and his quickened memories invaded my own mind, end quote. In fact, others offering tips on how to develop your own psychic powers have said the key is to practice detachment, forgetting self, and making one's mind completely blank, a state of emptiness, really. But it has a downside, just as, quote, the chief characteristic of obsessional patients is a sense of emptiness, end quote. Levincron, 1991, page 83. So it goes with the multiple, like Jenny, who wrote in her journal, quote, is there a me, end quote. Spencer, 1989, page 79. Or like Catherine, whose therapist said, it was not she who was being raped. It was someone else. Castle and Beechel, 1989, page 217. So when this woman was being raped, she just went to the sunken place because she couldn't fight back. She just clicked out, and she didn't think it was her being raped. It was somebody else being raped, right? Which when that came in, when she went blank, a multiple showed up, and she said it was her that was being raped, not me. In other words, to avoid the pain and trauma, the multiple simply absents herself or himself. Quote, I just closed my eyes and went away, said Billy Milligan, describing how he reacted to being sodomized by his stepdaddy at 8. And whenever Billy went away, an altar took his place. Billy had no idea. I don't know anything, end quote. And a lot of people will see that when we watch documentaries on things. Like, people tell them what they did, they have no recollection. They said, well, they said I did this. I don't remember any of that. That's one of the top key signs letting us know that their native spirit was in abeyance. There was some type of trauma that happened to them that put them in a habit of absenting themselves and letting something else, which they think is more stronger to handle the situation, take over, right? But a lot of times, the person that takes over gets a whole lot of tickets while I was driving your car, and now when they return your car to you, you find yourself behind bars. I wasn't driving the car. Oh yeah, really? That was a roll to take, please. Yeah, that's my Listen, well, who else is driving? Well, yeah, that's me, but I don't listen. No, wait a minute. I didn't do that. Yeah, that's me. No, that is somebody. Like, really? We see that happening. This is what is happening to these people. Yes, they blacking out, Jamia. Thank you. Well, hey, girl. Hey. Listen, they're blacking out. This is a real thing. Listen, page 45. In other words, to avoid the pain and trauma, the multiple simply absents herself or himself. I just closed my eyes and went away, said Billy Milligan, describing how he reacted to being sodomized by his stepdaddy at age 8. And whenever Billy went away, an altar took his place. Billy had no idea what the altar had done. Quote, I don't remember what they said I did. I don't know anything. End quote. No feint. Billy simply did not remember that he had raped 3 women. No, he wasn't faking memory loss. Quote, his amnesia was legitimate. His memory was poor with long periods blanked out. End quote. Keys, 1981, page 12, page 131, 117, 28, 148, and 361. Excuse me. Throughout his childhood, Billy was constantly losing time, meaning he was constantly blacking out. With the soul in flight, lost time is as typical of OCD. Quote, I cannot remember very many events, end quote. Rappaport, 1989, page 54, as it is of MPD. MPD is multiple personality disorder, right? As it is of MPD, where the host loses all awareness of his actions. The famous multiple Eve had blackouts followed by periods of which she had absolutely no memory of or knowledge. Her husband was going crazy, accusing her of stunts she didn't know a thing about, filling his shoes with water, sewing the cuffs of his trouser legs, watering his whiskey, spilling ink in the house, typical pranks of the mischievous altar. Quote, she slays and her hands are not bloody, end quote. Swine burn. MPD, quote, no wonder I got in trouble when I did not do anything, or so I thought. No wonder it seemed I had not learned major chunks of material at school. Perhaps, too, this was why some of my friends would stop talking to me in some instances, end our friendship, end quote. Cohen et al., 1991, page 87. Absent self, by definition, is empty self, resulting in what psychiatrists call flat affect. The term designates a notable lack of emotion, often due to a nurturance vacuum back in early life. Think of the apathetic individual, the opposite of affectionate, undemonstrative. Hold on. I think I missed saying something. Yeah, I'm sorry. Pause. Go back up to the top. Um, all the way back at the top where it says, in other words, to avoid the pain and trauma, the multiple simply absents herself or himself. I just closed my eyes and went away. And after that, I missed this little asterisk. There's an asterisk after that where it says, I just closed my eyes and went away. And down at the bottom, it says, the phrasing is identical to Jimmy's, I just go away. Like Billy, Jimmy was sexually abused by his father, who he finally stabbed to death. Moans, 1991, page 38. Okay. So let's go back down. And I'll start at this last paragraph at the bottom of page 45, and we'll go on. Absent self, by definition, is empty self, resulting in what psychiatrists call flat affect. The term designates a notable lack of emotion, often due to a nurturance vacuum back in early life. Think of the apathetic individual, the opposite of affectionate, undemonstrative. How you say that? Undemonstrative, like you don't demonstrate nothing. Undemonstrative, doesn't care, dull. Feelings are almost entirely in abeyance. Self is somewhere else. You can't get a rise out of them. They're locked in this limbo. They say, if only I could cry, I'd feel better. Or I should have feelings, but I don't. Duke and Hotchman, 1992, page 41. A surefire giveaway of abeyance self, flat effect has been noted in the unresponsive antisocial personality, APD, as well as the remorseless criminal offender. Mark Hoffman, a Mormon bomber, for example, bore a quote blank stare of empty emotion, end quote. Lindsay, 1988, pages 166 and 2. Again and again, it is emptiness, even more than viciousness, that is perceived in the look of the most dangerous culprits. Most of the time, says forensic psychologist Barbara Curran, Speaking of New York's prolific killer, Joel Rifkin, quote, he seemed utterly absent, as if his self had been long since left his body behind, end quote. She mentions his, quote, vacant, glazed eyes, expressionless, end quote. The press had him depicted as a, quote, detached board, end quote. He spoke in a droning monotone, no emotion at all. Kerwin, 1997, pages 42 through 43 and 49 through 51. Similarly, the mother of one Eric Napolitano's victims remarked that, quote, there was something in the way he looked, in his eyes. I saw emptiness, end quote. Pensiak, 1996, page 69 and 383. Indeed, in the course of Eric's trial, the judge was, quote, sickened, end quote, by the young man's lack of remorse. Quote, I have no remorse. I don't feel sorry for anybody, end quote, admitted John Wayne Gacy, Illinois killer of teen boys, whose response on TAT was, quote, an essential lack of feelings for other individuals, end quote. Psychiatrists found that he had no feelings for any of the people he killed. Morris in 2004, page 104. His expression hardly ever changed, commented Gordon Byrne, 1985, page 35, of Peter Sutcliffe, England's notorious Yorkshire Ripper, who was thought to possess an abnormal lack of emotion. There was the same flat tone when the BTK killer, Dennis Rader, told the story of his extensive crimes to detectives. And in the fascinating case of the Green Beret and Army physician, Jeff McDonald, it was the same, no semblance of feeling or emotion. As he described the crime, familicide, no sense of guilt. Flat effect, in point of fact, is nearly universal among violent psychopaths, as a quick searchlight reveals. And after searchlight, there's a little asterisk, and the asterisk says at the bottom, searchlight, meaning a summary of the salient points or array of relevant cases. I will use this term and method throughout the book. Okay, so searchlight. When we hear that again, that's what this is referring to. So now it gives this bullet point list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of 9 different people, of killers, and some of the things that was said about them. Okay, so you can leave that on. So the first one is M. Roman. Familicide, France, was a robot deprived of all capacity to feel. Ted Bundy, cold and calculating, evinced a non-emotional demeanor. And I'm gonna do this instead of saying quote, end quote. So when you see me do this, quote, end quote, right? I'm gonna just do that so I can keep reading without saying quote, end quote, right? Okay, so Ted Bundy, cold and calculating, evinced and non-emotional demeanor. John Hinckley Jr., wannabe presidential assassin, was noted for his inability to feel or express emotions. John List, am I saying that right? Familicide, Famillicid, familicide. I think it looks like familicide. I'm gonna just say familicide, right? Let me just look it up real quick. Hold on. Make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Side. pronounce. That's not clicking on it. Let me find another one. Took me back to the same thing. Hold on, y'all. How to pronounce.
Familicide.
Yeah, okay. I said it right. Familicide. Okay. Okay. Familicide. Okay. John List. Familicide was cold and impassive, aloof, a cold fish, taciturn and calculating. He spoke characteristically in a deep monotone. Sharkley, 1990, page 1923 and 270. Bobby Joe Long could not understand his own blank feeling of disorientation and confusion. His mother said she'd not even seen him cry since he was hit by the car at age 7. He became so cold and indifferent. So that's probably when his the change happened with him, right? So that is a trauma. It's an outside trauma, not an emotional trauma, but an outside trauma, right? We hear about those as well when people have different traumas and other spirits step into them while they're in the hospital, right? Because they're open, they're getting operations, and other spirits walk into their bodies, right? So it could be trauma emotionally or physical trauma to the body, amongst other things, right? Okay. Robert Berdella, tortured and killed merely as experiments, nothing more. The interviewer found him bereft of most human emotion. Morrison, 2004, page 19. I'm sorry. Morrison, 2004, page 194. Dennis Sweeney, shooter of politician Allard Lowenstein, 1980, was emotionally flat. Lawrence Bittaker, a murderous sociopath, displayed no outward expression or emotion. Markman and Bosco, 1989, page 269. Diane Downs, child killer, was diagnosed with superficial affect. Yes, there is overwhelming evidence of flat affect among irrational killers, but it's not much help when the forensic psychiatrist explains that this person has a piece missing or is unfettered by conscience. Blinder, 1985, page 151. This emotional robot, as some have termed it, has more than a piece missing. Psyche itself has become unhinged and wandered off. Okay. This is the crux of the disassociated state, self in abeyance, emotions in abeyance, conscience in abeyance. Spiritually void, this shell of a person has been a loner for the same reason: lack of feeling for others. Court psychiatrist Dr. Martin Blinder interviewed a prisoner named Ken, whom he observed had managed to get through almost 3 decades without connecting in an emotional way with anyone, never a close friend. Murdering left him cold. I didn't feel anything. Unable to identify or empathize with others, says Blinder, he kills casually without remorse. Blinder, 1985, 146, 149, and 151. Discussing the killing spree of Gary Tyson, Dr. Robert Hare, 1993, page 209, mentions that Tyson's most striking physical feature was his expressionless eyes, but flat affect is just as typical of the expressionless obsessive OCD. He spoke in a monotone. Rappaport, 1989, page 87, and even more so among multiples. Toby didn't seem to be feeling anything. She had no feelings. Mayer, 1989, page 177. Eve was colorless, monotonous, inert, sober. Her eyes had a vacant look. Jenny spoke dispassionately as if the events had happened to someone else. Spencer, 1989, page 172. There were no feelings at all. Cohen, et al., 1991, page 54, referring to another multiple. Trudy, there was nothing, no memory, nothing. She had no emotion of her own. She did not exist. Chase, 1987, page 192. I might also mention that the extremely conventional person can also become a shell, a cliche, a poster boy of normalcy, but a blank of a real person to the point that he is perceived by discarnates as an empty vehicle. Let me read that again. I might also mention that the extremely conventional person can also become a shell, a cliche, a poster boy of normalcy, but a blank of a real person to the point that he is perceived by discarnates as an empty vehicle. Right? So much so where you so lackadaisical or nonchalant that even when spirits is like, you're just like there it's like this even, no ups, no downs. Is this house empty? Like you're perceived by discarnate entities because there's this like, is anybody there? Because like there's like, no, we don't see any movement, no up or down, where we give an indication that somebody is there operating. There is this like Bueller, 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 right? So the discarnate entities thinks it's an empty shell, right? And so they're gonna come and try to occupy the house. Listen, I might also mention that the extremely conventional person can also become a shell, a cliche, a poster boy of normalcy, but a blank of a real person to the point that he is perceived by discarnates as an empty vehicle. This was the case with Danny S. He operated entirely on the level of acceptable cliches. It was as if he had no personality of his own. Nafe and Smith, 1995, page 335. This next section is called Beat the Box. As one forensic pathologist put it, if you have someone with a very flat effect, the lie detector test doesn't work very well. Glatt, 2002, page 151. Super agent and behavioral analyst Robert Ressler, 1992, page 192, 154, has expressed a similar point of view. True psychopaths are frequently able to beat the box, some so disassociated that they truly believe in their innocence, actually volunteer to take a seat and pass it too. The polygraph will not register as much as a blip. Markham and Bosco, 1989, page 93. Mark Hoffman, the Mormon bomber, passed the test with flying colors. Later, he admitted that he had become expert at concealing his emotions. Lindsay, 1988, page 249 and 381. Forensic analysis know that, quote, many hardcore criminals, particularly psychopaths devoid of conscience, can defeat the polygraph at will, end quote. Newton, 1998, page 175 and 69. The robotic, empty, nice guy can beat the box. No sweat difficult for a person with a normal ego and super ego to do. No tales or twinges of conscience are there to betray the detached mind, the disassociated self, He flatlines, he beats the box. After his second homicide, David Mehrhofer volunteered to take the lie detector test and to be given truth serum. He passed both tests. Gary Ridgway, the man-hunted Green River killer, passed 2 polygraphs. California's Zodiac serial killer stood his lie detector test on its head. Gray Smith, 1987, page 58. Why are they even still doing lie detector tests? If people can pass it, like, what's the point? Like, that this outdated, just stop it altogether. Nope, you got to show me more than that. Hold on. Okay. We're on page 49, the bottom half. Abeyance has yet another earmark peculiar to absent self, inexhaustible funds of energy. It may seem surprising that we can find this abundance of energy in such desperate categories of bipolarism, astral projection, OBE, and MPD, but not really. Once we realize that retired self is a well-rested organism, the astral projectionist isn't transported on the wind of ether, whose currents revitalize the traveler so that he returns to the body feeling overcharged with vital energy. Outside of phenomenal time, fatigue is non existent. There is no expenditure of energy. Battersby, 1979, page 88 and 91. Let me read that again, that whole little paragraph. Abeyance has yet another earmark peculiar to absent self, inexhaustible funds of energy. It may seem surprising that we can find this abundance of energy in such disparate categories as bipolarism, astral projection, OBE, and MPD, but not really once we realize that the retired self is a well rested organism. The astral projectionist is transported on a wind of ether whose currents revitalize the traveler so that he returns to the physical body feeling overcharged with vital energy. Outside of phenomenal time, fatigue is non existent. There is no expenditure of energy. Battersby, 1979, 88, and 91. So those, say somebody who has went into the sunken place and somebody else is driving their body, sometimes they'll have like superhuman strength. They've been running for 14 days straight. Oh my gosh, they ain't even using their energy because the real person, they're over there sleeping. And somebody else driving their body from the spirit realm who does not operate on the same rules that we do here. They're not going to expend any kind of energy. And when they let Jane take back over her body, Jane gonna be well rested. Hey y'all, what happened? I'm just waking up. You just waking up since we seen you running on the news for 14 days. There's a whole camera crew following you. What you mean? Hey, what's done happened? Look. Don't you ever get tired? One doctor asked the multiple Trudy Chase. Even her shrink did not know what to make of her enormous energy highs. She slept very little. Chase, 1987, page 17, 133 and 305. For the multiple whose lost time is spent resting in the tunnel, while his alters who keep him asleep run the show, slumber is all but redundant. In her secondary state, the woman called Felda moved swiftly from one household task to another, seeming to possess enormous physical energy. Crabtree, 1985, page 40. At 14, she had fallen into a deep sleep, awakening as her altar. Even the altar personalities seemed, as they surfaced, to be rested as if they had been in the deep relaxation of a trance state. The overall effect was the presentation of a tireless client. Spencer, 1989, page 13. Y'all know, right? Take a run, Forrest, run. I'm like, sis, hold up. Yeah, don't nobody go to that door. Something ain't right about her. The same lack of fatigue is evident in the hyper or manic phase of the bipolar personality, and for the same reason. When she is up, Dorothy, bipolar, can get along almost on no sleep. Other bipolars like Max never felt tired. Betsy, another, slept little, while Patty Duke herself could go 2 weeks without sleep. Now the experts suggest that lack of sleep may precipitate mania. Duke and Hodgman, 1992, 34, 46, 84, 12, page 95 through 97. But that makes no sense. Isn't it the other way around? Isn't mania, see chapter 7, we're going to get to that. We're not going to jump ahead, but we'll get there. Isn't mania, see chapter 7, and ACS, alternate state of consciousness, dominated by a restless, tireless secondary personality? Let me put it this way. Rather than sleeplessness causing the mania, it is probably just the opposite. Too much sleep in the tunnel triggers the mania. right? You clicking out too much, right? You in the tunnel, that dark place, in the sunken place too long, and that's triggering the mania, right? Here's how. During the low depressed part of the bipolar cycle, the person tends to do nothing or sleep a lot and or be out of it most of the time. Being out of it, quite literally, self is diminished to the point of vacuity. Nature arbors a vacuum, and other alter beings step in. Longing for excitement and eager for action, they are full of energy. Vacant self is easy prey to the incorporeal intruder. In fact, the intruder, alter, often leads just that vitality that the host has forsaken. Empty self, in short, listen, oh, I just thought about something. Think about when people get drunk, right? When you get drunk, they call alcohol spirit. They tell what kind of spirit you want. You want the spirits to come from the dark liquor or the light liquor. Now the dark liquor, they gonna take you on a wild ride. The white liquor, they a little obnoxious, but they ain't gonna get you in as much trouble as the dark liquor spirits are. What you want? Just think about people nice and quiet and shy and reserved. Give them a little bit of spirits on the inside of them, right? They tell you in the ABC store, spirits. Like you can literally go pick the spirit you want to come in and put you in a sunken place. Like I've seen this with many people who love alcohol, right? And look for it. Yo, that's why I paused the other day. Yes, was it yesterday? That's why I paused. Because when it was talking about the dilated pupils, I immediately had a flash of somebody I was talking to after they had got real pissy and the eyes were dilated, right? And I'm just like, darn. And it didn't click to just the other day when and I had already listened to this book twice, but it didn't click. So I was reading this out loud and I had that flash and the pupils being dilated, right? Listen, they can literally go choose. They don't know what they're doing. They just think, oh, we having a good time. Like y'all playing with fire. That's what y'all doing, right? The pupils dilate, right? And it's like, okay, who is we talking to today? Is we talking to Tony? Is we talking to Tina? Is we talking to Ike? Who is here? Look, Henny, vodka. Look, spirits knowing they finna run amok, BC. Look, like, man, only if y'all knew what y'all was playing with. And they put it, what spirit you want today? Right? We keep it open. At least in Virginia, you got to about this time and we close the doors, right? But come get all you want. Listen, hold up. Where was I at? Hold on. Slept a little 2 weeks. Hold on. What was that? Hold on. Nature arbors. Yep. Oh, right there. Okay, yeah. Where it says vacant self is easy prey to the incorporeal intruder. In fact, the intruder, alter, often lends just that vitality that the host has forsaken. Right? So you got little quiet girls until they get a little bit of liquor down in their system. Now they looking like promiscuous Patty out here riding. No, let me y'all get it though, right? I was about to say something. It makes them become more outspoken and do things that they wouldn't normally do. They say things they wouldn't normally say. Alcohol just tends to take them there. We know it's not just the alcohol. It's the spirits who come in to drive for a little while, right? And come to drive you around for a little bit. The alcohol, Abba girl, yes, the alcohol acts as an open door. It literally opens the door, right? It comes in and it puts it's like I look at it like this. It comes in and it sedates the flesh, right? It comes in, it's like what happens when the Jedi mind trick, right? Or the sleight of hand, things that like musicians do. Not musicians, magicians, right? And they come in and they put all your senses at rest. They relax. Go ahead, take a load off. Go and sit down. We're gonna run a shit. No, you didn't had a hard day. Go ahead and just get your glass of wine. Get to, you know what? ain't nobody here. Take that whole bottle, take it to the head, right? You got a couple more. Just a real bad week. Listen, it's a 4-day weekend. Just break all the bottles out. Call over homegirl. They don't want to come. Enjoy these yourself, right? And you get pissy. And next thing you know, John Wayne Gacy done showed up. And now you on the 7 o'clock news because you done beat your wife. And he like, what? He waking up in the cell the next day. What happened? What they say? Oh my God, baby, I'm so sorry. Like all this stuff we see, right? And it's like the men and women, it happen to men and women. It's like they black out because you didn't use that alcohol to sedate yourself and allow the spirit to literally just walk in and take control of you, right? People plan, I like that Nazarene. It's saying it's a liquid trance. That's exactly what it is. It's a liquid trance. Yo, this is, look, everybody that love alcohol, or know somebody that love alcohol, I want you to be paying just a little bit closer attention. Be looking at them pupils, like seriously. If y'all be watching people long enough, you know how many they take to the head before they start, all right, it's time for us to go now. They on their 4th bill. Or they done had 4 shots of that Avalon or whatever, right? Listen, be looking at the pupils. Listen, I ain't gonna throw nobody out there under the bus, but I'm just saying, I be watching now. Look. Hold on. Longing for excitement and eager for action, they are full of energy. Vacant self is easy prey to the incorporeal intruder. In fact, the intruder, altar, often leads just that vitality that the host has forsaken. Empty self, in short, is a veritable magnet for spirit intrusion. Quote, what has been made empty may be filled by the biblical 7 devils. Sometimes they come in a bottle of Ciroc, Avalon, Hennessy, Mad. Anybody still drink Mad Dog 2020? Listen, Mad Dog, how you acting like a Mad Dog? That was the first alcohol I ever got drunk on, and that was the first and last time I ever got drunk. I said, this life is not for me, right? And I was the quiet girl too. You ain't gonna have me out there. People talking about me. Nope. Drinking is not for me. Which is why it's so easy for me to take the Nazarite vow. I never got drunk. I had sipped some alcohol since, but I'd never, like a couple sips. And I just could never really just get over the fact that alcohol is absolutely disgusting. Like people have to make themselves keep on drinking. Like, do you realize you're drinking ethanol? Like you're drinking portions of ethanol, which is why it doesn't freeze, right? Well, alcohol, hard liquor, beer freeze and bust all in your freezer and all. Now you got to clean the whole freezer out. But I'm not gonna just drink gas. And that's what people do. And that's like, how do you? Isn't it? Yes, nasty. Say I just throw it back because I'm just trying to get the buzz. I'm just like, what sense does that make? Right? Look. Shebrew, imagine the spirits come from 2 drunks. Imagine the spirits come from 2 drooks and the sex and the baby is conceived and how many? Shebrew. Yo, see, she just said something, right? Babies being born crazy from the womb. What was the mom and daddy doing? Oh, this was the night we both had some Mad Dog 2020. We started with some rock. We had a couple mixed drinks and then, imagine the state of conception of that child. We're playing, but this is serious. This happens on a daily basis. Look, okay, y'all, let me finish reading this. Hold on, where we at? What time is it? 1:48? We'll go to the end of the shop because it's Saturday, y'all. Look. Okay, so look, okay. What has been made empty may be filled by the biblical 7 devils, end quote. Arthur Girdham, The Psychic Dimension of Mental Health. The Psychic Dimensions of Mental Health. Quote, the excursion of the soul leaves an empty house behind, which may attract a parasitic tenant, end quote. Arthur Conan Doyle, The Edge of the Unknown. With the body house vacated, that tempting vacuum presents a fine opportunity for wandering spirits. If there are spirits nearby waiting for bodies to enter, they slip right in. End quote. Fior, 1987, page 115. Quote, the devil plays in the empty pocket, end quote, is an old German saying. Also, German is the word poltergeist, literally noisy ghost. I just thought about something I told you the other day. I heard this which I thought was my husband walking in. They were super loud. Listen, boy, he better not come back, or she, whatever it was, because I'm gonna ask, who are you and why are you here? Like, what door has been opened that allowed you to come in here? Right? Look. The devil plays in the empty pocket. I might use that for our title today. The devil plays in the empty pocket. The devil plays in the empty pocket is an old German saying. Also, German is the word poltergeist, literally noisy ghost, which we have adopted in the English language to cover the bizarre displacement of things, usually household objects, spontaneously moving or breaking all by themselves. My sister, I told you about this a couple times when she had first got married. Whatever poltergeist or ghost or spirit that was lingering around, or deceased family member that was hanging around, I don't think they like her husband too hot, right? Because decks of cards would just fly off the dresser, like seriously. And this was a few months ago, right? They would just stuff would start happening, and she's like, "Girl, Pam." She said, "Girl, let me tell you what just happened." Was she here? She might not be. I think she at work. But stuff would just literally just fly off the dresser. The back door would open, like after, because it's not one that it's something wrong with it where you gotta change the thing or whatever because it's not closing all the way. No, the door closed, right? And it will come open. They will go upstairs, like everybody would be upstairs, right? And the doors would be locked. They would come back down, and they got a fence all around. Anybody jumped the fence? She got she had the Ring cameras and stuff. She checking the camera. The door would be unlocked and open, right? Things like that. It's crazy, y'all. Listen, such cases, let me go back. The devil plays in the empty pocket is an old German saying. Also, German is the word poltergeist, literally noisy ghost, which we have adopted in the English language to cover the bizarre displacement of things, usually household objects, spontaneously moving or breaking all by themselves. Such cases lend themselves to a spiritual interpretation involving the abeyance, passivity of a human subject. That person or focal agent, as case studies indicate, is usually an adolescent. In fact, it is believed that he or she is actually the human battery for the phenomenon. The youngster is, quote, used to supply for the ghostly activities, end quote. S. Smith, 1968, page 106. Once deep analysis is undertaken, the child or teenager is usually found to be in a classic passive aggressive state. It was quite a remarkable discovery that most of these children, focal agents, are not living with their natural parents, and they are overwhelmed by a seething resentment and hostility. Yet all their anger is denied, suppressed, bottled up. Vinette, listen, keep reminding me about the ashes in the closet. Could be. Look, take the spirits hang around our elderly because they be saying the craziest things. They be mean and violent. Yeah, I've seen drunk people bump their heads and not feel a thing. Yeah. Look, how you gonna get them? Look, how you gonna get them to pay for it, Nazarene, and seeing faithers? They break it, they fix it. You talking about the spirits? Let me know how that work out. Look. And yes, it is the bottling that make, oh my gosh, Finette. I just, look, I'm getting chills. I'm just thinking about this. You keep reminding me. You don't keep reminding me every day I walk in there and see it. And it could be, look, hold on. I got to talk to my sister. Look, Whew. Okay. And yes, it is the bottling that makes for the human battery. One of the best documented cases is the Miami poltergeist, 1967. Julio, the focal agent in this case, was a 19-year-old Cuban, unhappily separated from his mother, who remained in Cuba, and experiencing severe problems with his stateside stepmother. At the Miami warehouse where Julio was employed, bottles of shoe polish began to fly off the shelves. A cigar box sailed across the room. Whole shelves toppled over of their own accord. No one was hurt, but with the phenomena ongoing, there was a lot of damage. When the mayhem was traced to Julio, not his actions, but his mere presence, some of America's top paranormalists got on the case. The young man they found typified the focal agent profile. A bundle of repressed resentments and denial, check. Harbored feelings of rejection and worthlessness, check. Inability to express feelings, especially rage, impotent defiance, check. Utter passivity, withdrawing, seemingly detached, check. Deep sadness, check. Hannah, my husband's ashes are in my closet too, waiting to take him back to Jamaica. Yeah. Oh, Shibu, what about the ashes in closet? Y'all, please share. Okay, so my dad is sitting off up in my closet. Listen, look, Vanette, because I shared the story, but Vanette ever so often kindly reminds me, sis, you got rid of them ashes in your closet yet? Right? So look, now that I'm thinking about it, like sometimes you're just thinking about stuff, but when you say it out loud, like this part that I just read out loud, uh I think about this, but the thing is, we got my father cremated. He passed in 2017, right? So, but when we cremated him, here's the biggest reason why I hadn't really necessarily gotten rid of it yet. First of all, he split up between 3 households, right? So I probably maybe got like a head and a leg. My sister probably got like some fingers and toes, maybe the backside. And my aunt, who's in South Carolina, probably got the rest of the ashes. And a lot of the cardboard box that they probably cremated him in as well, right? So it's like, okay, so what portions of daddy do we really have here, right? Like, so, but they said we have an eternal flame. I don't think I ever showed it to her, so I want to get it. My husband had to put it up. I can't even reach it, unless I get the step ladder in the closet. But it's called an eternal flame. Take for your husband in the shed. That's not funny, but the way that no, it's not fun. I'm not laughing, but shed it. Okay, listen. So they said when they was making the eternal flame, it's a keepsake, right? So they had look, Shiru, daddy's home. Listen, that might have been my dad. I heard walking them heavy footsteps and crap now. Listen, I don't know, but like, listen, daddy, is that you? Look, stop playing. He probably like, girl, if you don't go bury this piece of my body and go talk to your sister and call my sister and tell her to put the rest of my ashes in the ground, this is what we're dealing with right now, right? So I'm not sure. They said they was going to take some of the ashes, and with the eternal flame that was inside of it, because it's beautiful. It's like these colors inside of the glass flame, right? And it literally looks like a flame. It's about this big, that wide around. It's glass, and it's like a swirling flame, and inside is the different colors. And they put some of his ashes inside of it when they did it, whatever, they molded it in a fire. This is what they told us they did, right? So I'm wondering, I was like, do they really do this, or is this is just something that they selling to us to make us think they really put the ashes in here, but they didn't. They just saying they did. So I'm like, is his ashes really in here or not? Right? But some of these paranormal things, I'm like, maybe it is some of the ashes in there. I don't know. Hey girl, hey, look. Yeah. Can you see it respectfully? Are you talking to me? You want to see the flame? I'm gonna wait for BC to answer that. That's what you asking me to see the flame, or you talking to? I think you probably asking me, can you see the flame? You asking me, can you see the flame? BC, yes, no. Yeah, I'll show it to y'all. Hold on, Elijah. Where's Elijah? Tell Elijah I said come here.
Yeah, Mama.
Tell Elijah I said come here. Yeah, I'll show it to you. It's probably a little bit bigger than this bottle, right? But now that I'm thinking, the more that I'm reading through this, because it was after. Now that I'm thinking about this, after my dad passed, because my sister, where all of this stuff started happening in her house was after she moved, because my dad passed away at the house she was at. But shortly after he passed away, she said, I can't be here because that's where she had taken care of him at for the last couple of years, and it was too much for her, right? So she moved. But after she moved, that's when like all of this paranormal behavior started happening like all the time. We also had the flames in our home. So now I'm like, you might be right. Where's Elijah? Is he in the bathroom? Elijah. You got on the headphones? Hold on, let me ask him. I'll show y'all. Yeah. You see it sitting on the very top. That crystal flame with the pretty colors going through it. Yeah, so now that I'm thinking about it, that's when go get grandpa out of the closet too. Listen though, now like I'm really thinking about this because remember I told y'all it came stomping like mad, and it came in my room, walked all the way to the closet. Now that I'm thinking, I don't know, because my sister would have came in by now. She either at work or she home sleep or something. I'm gonna show y'all. He gonna go get in there. He gonna go get grandpa out of the closet. Or part of grandpa. Look, some of the stuff that be happening around here, like yesterday, I was standing here in the kitchen. Now it don't like the spirit, whatever entity is here, like it don't be messing with me. But I'll see it. Like yesterday, I was standing here in the kitchen, and I thought my husband was standing behind me, right? And then because I could see it, I was like, babe, and I turned around, I'm like, babe, and I walked around because I literally thought there was him standing behind me, but it wasn't. Like I saw the shot. I'm like, look now. Okay, so this is the eternal flame. Leisha, look, my sister here. She on Facebook. Look, girl. Okay. So how long you been here? Did you just come in? You probably wondering like, oh my God, why you got daddy? Look, we was reading through this and something just dawned on me. So remember how the house, remember after dad passed and the house you moved to since like 8:30. Okay, so you heard everything I was talking about. Okay, so didn't this stuff, the doors and the cards flying off the dresser and stuff, didn't that happen? Didn't that stuff start happening after dad passed? Didn't all this stuff start happening when we had like, you got a portion of his ashes and I got a portion of his ashes and not Nene got the other portion in the box in and out of sleep. Okay, you hear the question? Yes. Okay, so listen. Okay, so we was just reading through a portion of this, right? And something dawned on me. And I told you about how I felt like this spirit, like literally, I thought it was James coming into the room, but no, that was Cher. I was on the phone with Cher. I was talking to Cher, my baby sister, but it wasn't him. Like literally, I heard him coming up the stairs, and what dawned on me, I realized that it wasn't him when I heard my husband actually, his keys hit the door and he was punching in the code. I'm like, wait a minute, then who done just walked up here? And I'm thinking now, and then I hear my husband walking up the stairs. It wasn't as hard, and he pushed the door open and he came right over and he pulled the covers off me. because I was being foolish that night because he said, Pam, I want to talk to you when I get home. And I really want to have that particular conversation at night. I'm like, I'm going to sleep. I ain't got the time for it tonight. I'm going to sleep. Right. So, but I was still up talking to Cheryl on the phone. Right. And so when I heard his truck, because my husband got these huge pipes on his truck, and I was talking, it was almost midnight too. No. And I said, oh, shoot. I said, girl, I got to get off the phone, Jane, so I'm about to go sleep. I don't feel like having this conversation tonight. And she said, girl, you stupid. So literally, I'm on the phone, FaceTiming with my sister, and I'm running through the house, up the stairs and stuff. I'm throwing off my clothes. And then I left my head wrap on my head, but I'll never sleep in my head wrap. So I hopped in the bed and so I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot my bonnet. So I snatched off my head wrap, had to hop up, run into the bathroom, grab my bonnet, put it on my head, hop back in the bed. No sooner than I did that, I heard the walking up the stairs, right? Heard the walking. It was like a hard, not stomping, but heavy foot. Like, don't be walking on my stairs like that, right? And so I heard it coming up the stairs and pushed the door open, like a mad pushing the door open and just walk. I'm like, I know he about to come snatch these covers off of me, right? And so, but he didn't. He walked past me, and you know how it sounds when somebody walks on carpet. He walked on the carpet just as hard. I'm like, dang, he must really be mad. You know, he's walking, and then when he got off the carpet, walked into our bathroom, I heard the transition of the footsteps from the carpet to the tile floor into the bathroom, and it sounded like walking on tile till he got to the walk-in closet past the bathroom. It went back on carpet. I heard all transitioning of the sounds. And then I heard him, yes, son. And so then I heard him back there, and it sounded like it normally sounds like if he take off a jacket or something and just let all his clothes fall to the floor. I heard that, right? No, this was real, son. I didn't share this with you. You're 7 years old. Why would I tell you this? Going upstairs. Listen. Look, so that happened. And after I heard the clothes, or what I thought was clothes, hit the floor, he was looking for the ashes. Vanette, you gonna leave me alone. Stop it. He was probably looking for, like, where the rest of my body at, Pam? Well, I'm still not in the ground, Pam. Look, it probably was Vanette looking for his ashes, sitting right up there on the top shelf in the closet. It's like open because we got like a shelf built onto the wall all around. It's sitting like right when you walk in, not right in the middle, but you walk in like slightly off to the left side a little bit. That's where it's sitting at, right? So he was back there, and then it just got quiet. And I'm like, what is he doing back? I'm thinking it's my husband. Like, what is he doing back there? Like, why is he so quiet? Right? And so I'm like, and so now I had covered myself up, faking like I'm asleep. And so I had to take the covers off my face so I could breathe. Like, so I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, why is he taking so long? He never that quiet back there in the closet. But to my surprise, I heard my husband, like when I'm actually in the room, I can't hear nobody when they start at the bottom step. I hear them when they get like 3 steps from the very top. I heard that again. And then and he doesn't walk heavy like that. He walked in the room and pushed the door open. I thought the door was open by the way I heard it the first time, but he pushed the door open and he walked right over to the bed and he moved the covers. He said, babe. I said, babe. And I was like, what? Wait, what? You just walked in the room. He said, yeah. I said, no. Look, here you come down the stairs. I said, no, babe. I heard somebody in the closet. I thought you had already came on this. I reminded him about this the other day. We was in the shower. I was like, babe, you remember the other day when I said
that? She tripping, man.
Look.
That wasn't that. She was sleeping. She was dreaming.
Listen, didn't I tell you he said that to me? I was not asleep, but he can call my baby sister on the phone because I was on the phone talking to Sherry when he pulled up. Because I had already told y'all, I was being foolish. I didn't want to talk. He said he wanted to talk. I didn't want to talk. I was like, Sherry James home. Let me run this. So I'm on phone with my sister.
Y'all see how ignorant she be acting when she don't be on it. Y'all be thinking the smiley face be for real. I'm telling y'all.
No. I do, but that night, sometimes I don't be want to have conversation. I want to go to sleep.
No,
look,
she be in her funk, man. Straight up,
I was not in the funk. I just didn't want to have that conversation.
If y'all ever seen Tom and Jerry had his friend, that white cat, and he said, "No, the white mouse said, don't you believe it?"
Listen, look. So, and then my husband, I was explaining, I say, no, babe, listen. And I explained everything that just happened. He
That was
said,
that
"You
demon
tripping."
spirit that was in her that said,
Listen.
you know what? The master here, the peer is here. Let me exit. That's what
Listen.
it was. That was that demon spirit coming up
Look.
out of her saying,
Coming up
I gotta
out of
go. I gotta go.
Coming
I'll
up
be
out of
back.
me.
I'll be back. You always entertain me every 2 days, so I'll be back in a
Well,
couple days.
listen, if we want to be serious about it, it showed up when you showed up.
It was leaving your body, not me. Don't blame your demon on me.
Look,
No,
look.
you can't put your demon on
Look,
everybody.
let me tell you something. Anytime something crazy like this happened, you remember when the whole Julian Spirits thing happened? I had ordered that book. He was talking about something. You get rid of that book, or I'm leaving. See, he don't play with the devil.
See how you said she want to dance with the devil all the time, then want to run out the room? Talking about, ooh, the devil here. I'm like on Bad Boys. The devil don't live here.
Listen.
I'm like
Look.
on Bad Boys. So
Look.
y'all little friend over here. I'm telling y'all.
Listen.
She entertaining. I'm telling you.
Entertaining what?
Her and her demons.
Oh,
yes.
Stop it. No, seriously.
Back lady.
Listen. So, Leisha, listen. So this crazy stuff started happening when we decided to put daddy ashes in this, right?
Before y'all get married to somebody, just ask them, you and what demons do you carry? Ask that first.
And listen, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with
man,
that.
before you talk
But
about
listen.
how good you is in bed, before you talk about what your credit score, and before you talk about what type of job you got, ask what type of demons do you carry?
And what if they don't know?
When they start naming them out, that's the person you want to be with. But if they say they don't know,
wait,
please run.
Wait, hold on.
Because they're going to be sitting up and saying, oh no, I ain't got none.
Wait, you said
the Nile is not just a river in Egypt. I'm telling you.
You gotta quit doing that to Grandpa. Come get out here, boy. Come see here. Listen, look, y'all. No, seriously. Listen. So the whole point was this crazy stuff started happening in our households after we cremated Dad and we put him in these eternal flames, right? She said yes. So what we haven't asked is Aunt Nene, because they out there in South Carolina.
Take this back.
No, because we need to properly bury Daddy. Now, Daddy wanted his ashes cast out to sea.
I thought y'all supposed to have did this like 5 years ago.
We were supposed to.
Y'all so scared. y'all talk all this big.
Listen.
When that rubber hit the road, they like,
Listen, see, because we was gonna go to the pier. Because Daddy liked to go fishing and stuff, right? You know, he was always watching what is the big tuna jank thing, the deadliest catch and all that. And he kind of wanted his ashes scattered, right? But because now we have put him in the eternal flame, I don't know, the name probably was my daddy showing up in the closet looking for the rest of his body.
True.
Wreaking havoc. He making simultaneous visits to me and Leisha's house, knocking cards off the counter. You still got these ashes in here. I can't go nowhere. Y'all got my darn ashes suspended. You got mine sitting on this little light. You plug this in. Look, we got look.
We bought all that stuff. Y'all is a trip, man.
We got this little thing that's mounted, sits on, and you plug it in.
Where's that at?
It was sitting beside this on the shelf.
You still got that?
Okay, but it was too big to put on the shelf.
I thought y'all threw that away and kept that. Like,
no,
what was the whole
you
point
sit
of
on this, and it has a light that goes up through the bottom of it when you sit it up there.
It's scared, Graham.
Look, Daddy dead body on display in the closet. He coming in there. That's why I'm stomping up the stairs. This darn girl still got my body in this house. And I'm thinking it's my husband. I was like, oh my God, babe, somebody in the closet. Girl, you dreaming, you tripping. You quit all this tapping into stuff. You call the devil. I'm going to leave if you don't stop. I'm like, babe, listen, we got to figure out what's going on in here. You bringing everything in here. I was like, what do you mean? And it could be. Well, look, my sister's like, yo, I just remember something. What you remember, sis? We really need to go ahead and we need to bury Daddy. Who y'all you want to do it in? Yours or mine?
Take that over to my people's house and bury it in there. What's wrong with you?
No, seriously, I have been thinking about this. I was wondering, if we should actually just go get a plot instead of like tossing it, because I don't know if it will be considered littering, like tossing this off the pier or something, you know, and somebody says they threw something in the water over here in Buckrow Beach, you know. So I was thinking, I don't know, I was thinking about all this stuff. If we should maybe like get a plot or something and just take the flame you got, the flame I got, make a trip, or have my Nene and them come here and we just, you know, put it in there, you know, do something. You remember something Janiyah said? What, girl? What she say? Look, go ahead. What she say? Because Grandpa probably be talking to her too. We already got our thoughts about this. When I tell y'all crazy stuff be happening, and it's like we doing something wrong or something is off. We gotta figure it out.
Haunted house, yo. And I gotta deal with this type of stuff with this woman. Like, you see how
what you be dealing with?
You see how
what you be dealing with?
Violating that is.
Because you be like, I'm out of here. Let's just go. Let's leave out the house.
No, I don't. Girl, but listen.
I'm like,
how violating.
We need this field guide to the spirit world. We need to read this, y'all.
Listen, man, whenever you're doing certain things, be one with your other, please. You know what I mean? Don't be like so violating the person. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that.
Tickfa said, put him in the backyard. Look, Tickfa.
We bring it, put it in your backyard.
Look, Tickfa said she already got her husband out in the shed in the back.
And never mind, them two demons be fighting. They might be fighting. I mean, they might be fighting. No,
all due respect, Tickfa.
No,
you know.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. But no.
Yeah.
She gonna, this one right here, she gonna handle her own. She gonna take this one here.
Hold on, what you tell my daddy before he passed away?
I said, I have been taking care of you. What you mean? I think that's the reason you remember that conversation over any doggone thing.
That means you need to be by my side when we go lay.
I didn't say I was taking care of you like that. No.
Look. Okay, you said when she was in that place about seeing Daddy, Aunt Shelley, and Grandma. Yeah, because I was like, what she said is like, well, how would she get that kind of information? You know, so I don't know, but when look, the Father will send his angels to gather his ashes from where you scatter it. I believe that. Vinette, the one keep reminding me. She keep be like, Pam, you still got your daddy in the closet. And so when she just said that, it just reminded me the whole thing when I heard the stomp, and I'm like, well, shoot. And it really brought my attention to this. I'm like, well, this really could be what's happening.
Well, do you think your aunt, his sister will want it? Ask first, you know what I mean?
First of all, I need to call Aunt Nene and see what she's doing.
Right.
And see what kind of, you know, stay out there. So
I've been in peace. You know, you just never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, y'all, but seriously, yeah. So this is making a little bit more sense now. Yeah, so my sister with the back door opening, even when my brother was there, he witnessed it. He was like, I don't know what you got going on in this house. That's funny. Listen to my brother tell about some of that stuff, the back door and stuff opening by itself. And sometime when he would stay the night over, it would be happening and nobody else would be down there. So he was like verifying some of this supernatural paranormal activity and stuff. Right. So it's like, well, maybe we didn't, I don't know. Was we supposed to turn away from Jesus? Look, so all of this stuff literally start going through our mind, like, you know, and so we like really, okay, let's think about this. Let's not automatically jump into fear mode and blame everything because we didn't walked away from Jesus, but let's really figure out what's happening here. Right. And so, yeah, as we're going through this and learning about we are spirits housed in bodies and that we never die, we're eternal. And, you know, just all of these things coming together, really looking at it. Look, girl, I don't know. You probably right. That's why it's like we gotta call Aunt Nene. And sometimes she'll come in from time to time and she may say something, she may not. But I don't know. We're gonna sit and talk with her, you know. Haven't talked to her about any like supernatural stuff happening, but we're gonna when we talk to her, we're gonna ask about some of the stuff. Have you noticed any strange things happening? You know, we had to break it in. Are you welcome? All right, y'all. So, but yeah, this is a little bit some of the craziness and stuff that be happening.
Pam.
Listen,
Paranoid Pam. This This joker here. But listen, you know what? Listen, this is, and then on
Hold
top of that,
Hold
do
on.
this, all right? Listen, this is what y'all need to do. Any men listening, women, y'all do this, period. But if it's men, and maybe y'all women can tell y'all husbands or significant others or whoever, listen. If you find your woman, your girlfriend, or whoever always falling asleep first, that means that joker scared. That joker scared
Listen,
at night.
Look,
That joker be scared at night, Joker. I'm
look,
telling you.
let me tell you
That
something.
joker heard John. I'm like, yo, listen. Time going back, time going forward. It don't matter with this joker
He
here.
is exaggerating some.
This joker here will try to go to sleep while the lights on. Then
let
she
me
get
say,
mad.
yeah,
Talking about
look.
cut on a movie. I'm like, nigga, this ain't no bedtime story. Cut on a movie, so you know I'm just gonna go to sleep with a movie on. That's why your butt be having all the weird dreams. When you got all this stuff coming in through your spirit. You talking about I had a dream. I was being attacked. No, that was the television.
No,
It had
listen.
nothing to do with your dream. Then she wake up.
He over exaggerating
sweating.
that, y'all.
It's hot.
Listen.
Cut the TV off and put this girl sleep with blinders on her. I'm like, yo, this is the most ridiculous.
He is completely
I'm a video-
exaggerating
listen,
now, y'all.
I'm a video
Listen,
recording. I'm gonna put it up.
look.
I'm gonna post it up.
Put it up. Put it up.
Telling y'all, she gonna be like, that wasn't
up.
me.
Put it
Telling you, this joke is a
Listen.
man. This is
No,
time
listen.
for you. Listen.
Listen. No, listen
If
to
I
me.
wasn't smart enough,
Listen.
I believe
Look.
some of that shit. I'm telling you, this joke here.
No, listen.
Man, it's
Now,
a
for
joke.
real, I don't like to sleep in a pitch black dark.
I do.
He like to sleep in pitch black dark.
It's quiet.
Now, listen, it's
Yeah.
quiet to you, but it's always
Hey,
some
face your
crazy.
demons. What you scared? You scared?
Listen,
So the afterlife.
Listen. your demons be attacking me. Look, he be sleeping soundly, and I be getting attacked.
I know
And
you don't.
Listen, look. Now let me tell
I
you
talk
something.
to mine. I'm cool. I'm a Gemini too, so it is what it is. So I'm used to this. Anyway.
Let me check your eyes. Turn around here. Let me see. Let me get your pupils.
But yeah, listen, once again,
Look.
if they fall asleep before you do,
Look,
and they always want to hurry up every night, let's go to bed. It's still daylight
Listen.
outside. There's still things to do.
y'all, if y'all been here long enough, y'all can tell when he exaggerating a little bit.
I don't know about that one.
He's quite the comedian. No, now seriously though, I don't like to sleep in the
Go ahead,
pitch black.
go ahead.
I really don't. I don't like to sleep in the pitch black. But I will, if it's too much light in there, I will grab my little night eye covers and I put them over my eyes because
You know what that means?
watching TV.
You know
and
what
I'm
that
trying to
means?
go to sleep.
You know what that means? She
But
put on her night covers, but she leave her nightstand light on. Cut the nightstand light on. I gotta come over there. She don't even want to reach for it at night. I gotta walk around the bed and cut her nightstand light off. And then she say, "Thank you, babe." Like you could reach over and cut it on yourself. Are you
now
scared?
listen,
That girl scared to
listen.
move.
no, I'm not. Listen,
Yes,
now
move.
for real though, for real, I don't like sleeping in pitch black, and especially since the shenanigans and the loud footstepping and walking into the closet every night.
I walk in
Like
closet, lights stay
clockwork.
on.
Look,
The
and
light
I
in our
still close
doggone-
the door.
The light in our doggone shower stay on.
Yes.
And the bathroom light stay on. And I'm like, dude, what you got going on with you?
Look,
Now then on top of that, she got, oh my God, listen, she got her phone, light, then she got Alexa. Yeah, dog it, you got so much stuff. Then she got one headphone in her ear. No wonder this joker got all this stuff going on. She have no quiet time. No, she got all these spirits just hoovering over the top of her. Which one of y'all want to deal with?
listen, he is really exaggerating, y'all. He is exaggerating. But I will look. Look.
Man, I was attacked. I would.
Look,
You got 50 spirits sitting over here just. Which one of
look,
y'all
no.
singing Kumbaya? Go ahead.
Look.
Dude,
I
that's
will
why you
keep
hot.
listen. I will keep laughing at you. You making me laugh.
No, man,
I
I'm
will
serious,
go
though.
turn the closet light on in the bathroom. Look, because
Come
we
on,
got what?
tell the truth.
1, 2, the
We got
light
light
in the
on the
closet.
head of our shower. The head of the shower light. You keep,
Look,
you keep
see,
the water
no.
running.
Listen,
No, I'm joking on that.
you see, he playing.
I'm joking.
Okay, so it is. There's multiple lights in our bathroom where it can have different types of light in there. So even when you cut the shower on, there's a light for the shower.
Listen, the
that
point
only
is,
work. It's rent. The light works. The
ask
light
these
works
questions
by
when
water.
y'all dating in the first beginning of marriage. Ask these questions, man. These are like
Hold on,
very
listen.
important
If I
things.
asked these questions when we first got married, I never got married to you. You want to get married in what?
Listen, they ain't
All
I'm
black.
not talking about that now. Listen, I'm just saying, ask these if you dating people. I'm just saying, if you with somebody and that person don't know that about you, just talk about it.
What if they both crazy when they get married? Because we was both crazy when we got married.
I ain't got nothing to say about that.
Right. See, there we
I'm
go.
talking about now. Nah.
Look,
So
you prefer pitch black, but I don't because they say women that live alone shouldn't. So I keep the night light on.
ain't nothing wrong with that. A nightlight ain't nothing wrong with nothing. Listen, we might even get a nightlight. I'm cool. No, you know what? Forget a nightlight. She got a light underneath her nightstand.
I should have ended this video before he came down the stairs.
You know, so she got a night underneath her nightstand. Forget that. She by right past that. She don't care about cutting that on. She got on every other, but this the point is the movies that she want to watch at night. No, a dog on what she about to go to
I don't
sleep.
watch this. Look, I tell y'all, I wouldn't recommend watching this at night.
What you say don't recommend? You always want to watch
The
something.
scary movies. No,
Oh, no, we'll watch
no. And then I know we're gonna fall asleep watching the movie because I'd be like, what movie we gonna let watch us tonight while we sleep?
You right. You should. And that's every night though.
Look.
Hey,
All right, y'all. So y'all asked to see Daddy's flame. They probably, I don't know, it probably was my daddy. Look, my sister said my husband's scared of me. Like, cause all the supernatural stuff be going on inside the house. And he was saying stuff like, he said, what kind of witchcraft and stuff going on in here? And you know, my sister and my niece and stuff, they done got used to stuff just happening around the house, but it freaks the crap out of anybody else who comes in there. And so, but yeah, you know, it really could be the spirit of our Father. I don't know. Some people that may sound like, oh my God, what they got going on this channel, but it really could, because that's now that we're talking about it now, we're reading through this. That's when all this stuff started happening after our dad passed and we brought the flames and stuff into our house. So now, like, seriously, sister, we gotta do something about dead eternal flames. We know his spirit is forever. We just want to properly bury his body, you know, especially if he's supposed to be continuing to grow and rise up. He can't move.
So y'all two the only two that got
no, and not me.
Okay, well, y'all three should talk about it and come up with a place to properly and then put it back together and, you know what I mean, place it somewhere if that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's what it's gonna be.
So
instead of you putting it somewhere, just put it properly.
Yeah.
Just don't do me like that. I don't want y'all to do me like
I ain't gonna do you like that, babe.
I told you, plant me in a tree. Plant me in a tree, put me somewhere.
I will.
I'm gone. I'm out of here anyway.
Look.
But anyway.
Listen now.
I ain't gonna talk about that right now.
Oh, because I was about to say.
I ain't with all that right now.
Oh, because I was about to say you got to make sure your spirit can rise. Flesh holds it down.
Man,
I'm just saying.
Man, finish talking.
Look, the Bronze Joe report said, got to train yourself about the dark. You know, folk that have out of body experience say the dark void. Prepare yourselves. Got to get this fear out. Yeah. We working on that.
She getting a little bit better. She challenged herself, but it is something.
Yeah, I
but I
believe
mean,
the earth
anybody,
darkness
you know what I
is
mean?
different than spirit world darkness.
Everybody deal with fear differently. Some people, you know, they feel for other things. Some people, you know what I mean? It's everybody, but everybody voice it.
True.
Everybody don't voice their fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people hold it in, and sometimes if you don't ever challenge yourself, how you know what you fear for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say, you know what I mean, hey, let's go bungee jump, and that's gonna be, you know, everybody don't have that type of fear, but
yeah. All right, y'all. You know what? I think we're gonna Iman said no more animal sandwiches if you want to rise.
You know what? You and this animal sandwiches, you know, I that's one thing I had remembered, you know what I mean?
I told y'all.
That when y'all was she's the original one that said it, right? When y'all was having the girl talk?
No, Key said it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Kila Olam.
Yeah. But that's what I remembered. I never heard that.
Yeah, he was like animal sandwiches.
Yeah, that's So
Yeah, so all right, y'all. So where do we stop? We're just gonna pause. Hold on. My page is flipped. I gotta find my spot. I think it was here. We're just gonna pause where we was, and I ain't gonna read no more.
How long you been talking?
Shoot.
3
This
hours?
say 2 hours and 29 minutes and 25 seconds. So we about to pause right here, y'all. Shucks, this last hour was
You getting big.
been the James and Pam comedy show.
The last what? 10 minutes?
Okay, y'all. We're gonna pause. It was on 51, right?
That's getting big.
Yeah, I think after the the noisy ghost, when I started talking about this spirit walking up the stairs and stuff. Okay. All right, y'all. So we're gonna pause right here. Let me put my mark. And I think when we come back, we're gonna start at the top of page 51 tomorrow. Back here. And we're just gonna read this little paragraph over and keep going. All right, so this was fun today. I enjoyed y'all. Look. We're gonna look, Vinette, we're gonna get this together. We're gonna make sure we
Yeah, Vinette, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it together.
do a proper burial for our father.
They're gonna get it together right.
Okay, y'all. All right, so that's it, y'all. It's Saturday, November the 5th, 2022, day 255 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1274. Today we read in the Oahspe Book of Jehovah, pages 7 through 9, and in the Field Guide to the Spirit World, pages 44 to 51. You know what? I didn't do what you call it when we started, an adoration for the Father. Let me see. I got to do 2 now. I'm gonna cover the beginning and then. What? You want to say something?
Can I end the call?
Oh wow!
Yes, son. I'll let you end it. Elijah want to end it today. You funny. Oh yeah, BC. Yeah, look, BC got all this started today. He asked to see the eternal flame. My portion of my father's eternal flame. Right, my sister got the other piece. My aunt got the other piece. Right. All right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So we got to talk about some stuff. I don't know. Maybe it helped somebody else. I didn't even know. Like I'm not the only one here harboring the body of a dead person. We got a couple more people.
Yeah, you would say it like that, wouldn't you?
Oh my gosh! Look,
going
I hope
on
I'll get in
today?
trouble for that. Look, I'm not really harboring. If you got to watch this, we talk about the remnants of our loved ones and ashes. Look, YouTube might. Oh, they ain't gonna put me in jail. If I get another strike on the main channel, I'm going into jail for a week. So I got to be careful. Listen. All right. So Father, first of all, we thank you.
Jesus on the main line. Tell them what you want.
What about
Jesus on the main line?
What about?
Call them up. Tell them what you want.
Father, we thank you for that you created laughter.
As a medicine.
Yes. Father, we thank you for the creation of laughter. And thank you for, let's see, what's the second one? Pick a second one, babe.
What we doing? Giving thanks?
Yeah, adoration for the Father.
Oh, man. I mean, thank you for making everything to the mind of the pure. You know what I mean? To the pure, all things are pure and holy.
Okay, yeah. This is good, clean, fun, purity, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks,
all right.
Man.
So, Father, we thank you for that. Yeah, well.
Thank you for who you are.
Help somebody today.
It's how you are.
I hope we help somebody today.
Thank you for your creation.
Yeah. Look, yeah, Jan Ayana here telling story. Look, they was listening to me. Look, they over there getting started talking about some of these spooky, scary stories that be happening in our houses and stuff. The teenagers love to sit around and talk about stuff like this, right? Yeah.
You don't need to watch a movie.
Thank you, Mom.
Talk about us.
Right.
You need to watch a movie for it. Just come over here. We got it all over here. And your sister stay right around the corner and just walk from here to there. You get a whole lot in this doggone.
Listen.
I mean, you get a lot. Trust me. I don't even know why they even let us move over here. If they knew what was going to happen,
listen.
I can only imagine.
Vinette talking about
some of these people that's about some of these doggone garage doors might not close.
Look,
demons hold them up.
Look, Vinette talking about some. Put your dad in the living room and see if anything changed.
Hold on, wait a minute, Jack. Now you're going a little bit too far. No,
it was okay when we had them confined to the closet.
And we locked the door when we shut it. No, I'm joking.
Listen, but seriously, he may not be laughing about it, but he could be. But my dad was a jokester to the core. He would actually enjoy some of this funny stuff, but seriously, he'd be like, all right, now funny jokes is over. Go ahead and dispose my body properly so I can go ahead and keep growing, Pamela. You and your sister Alicia. Let's go. Let's, all right, joking time is over.
I
Let's
gave
go.
y'all responsibility, and look what y'all doing with it. I knew I shouldn't have gave y'all that responsibility. I knew I shouldn't.
Look, this is all right. I can trust Pam. Leave it to Pam. Pam, the main one down here.
The main one. I should have gave it to Vanetta.
Look, my mom in the comments laughing too.
I would have gave it to Vanetta. Vanetta would have did it right. At least you knew what go transpire.
But my mom was gracious enough. This y'all dad, y'all.
You should have took the lamb by the horns and took charge.
My mama left it up to us.
Man, you see what happened when the kids don't know? You see what everybody got to deal with.
We learning.
The husbands, the kids, the grandkids.
Look.
We got to deal with all this.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, y'all. I love y'all. We about to get out of here. Tootie, come on. We're going to end this.
Hey, fat thing. Because you grounded. Your daddy holding you down. Say you ain't going to.
Come on,
hey,
say you
fat
come on.
thing. You come in, you fat.
All right, y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning. Francis, shalom, shalom. And everybody that I missed, if I missed anybody. Thank y'all for hanging out, tuning in to another episode of the James and Pam Comedy Show.
Wait, what? You just comedy shows now?
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
Peace. Wow. Peace. Where you get that from? Where you get that? Elijah, come here.
Bye, y'all.